Bears open defense of their world title today in the friendly confines of Soldier Field against the wild card winners, the Washington Redskins. Look at those clouds in the background. But the sun is out here right now, and considering where we are, Chicago, in the time of the year, the weather is ideal for football. And good afternoon again, everyone. I'm Dick Stockton. And these teams have gotten to this game with different circumstances. The Bears have had 2 weeks to get ready. They report no injuries, and they're flying high with a 14-2 record. Meanwhile, the Washington Redskins have had only 6 days to get ready. You know about all of their injuries at nearly every position, it seems. And, of course, the flu struck them this week on top of all that. My partner is Dan Deerdorf. And, Dan, while the Bears won their last 7, the Redskins struggled toward the end of the year, but they seemed to turn it around last week.
And turn it around they did last week by doing one thing. They went back to what they call, quote, Redskin football. The Redskins felt that during the course of the season, they put too much pressure on Jay Schrader to be the guy that would win the football game. Last week, they did it with defense. They forced the Rams into 6 turnovers, and the main guy offensively was the I-back, the big man, the one-back offense, George Rogers. They'd like to do that again today, Dick.
You know, Dan, when we went down to Suwanee, Georgia to talk to some of the Chicago Bears, they seemed to have a mission that transcended just the mere winning of this game.
And I'll tell you what that mission is, and it has to deal with their defensive football team. They feel that they are the best that has ever played the game of football. And you know what? They just might be. They also have some mad people on that group. People like Otis Wilson, Richard Dent, no All-Pros, no Pro Bowls. They're upset about that. This team gave up 10 points in 3 playoff games last year. And when you talk to the Bears now, they think that's far too many.
All right, Dan, and in the 4th quarter, the Cleveland Browns have tied the New York Jets 20-20. In their AFC divisional playoff game, and it'll be a while before we see the Bears' vaunted defensive team, because Chicago has won the toss and they'll receive. Steve Cox will be kicking off for the Redskins, and deep for the Bears is Dennis Gentry on the left and Thomas Sanders, number 20, on the right. These teams that have appeared in the Super Bowl in 3 of the last 4 years, and we're underway. It'll be Gentry at the 4. And Dennis Gentry to the 45. Written out of bounds after a 61-yard kickoff return by Darrell Green.
And Dennis Gentry is gone if he doesn't get his legs tangled. Watch when he breaks through. He's going to catch us right there. That little stutter step is going to keep him from going the distance. He runs out of sideline, and what a way to start the game for the Chicago Bears.
And Joe Gibbs is muttering under his breath. And the Bears have it 1st and 10 on the Redskin 35. Doug Flutie, the quarterback. First down. The pass tipped away, incomplete, and it was intended for Willie Gault. The legend of Little Big Man continues. The 2nd career start for Doug Flutie, and he'll be looking at a Redskin defensive line of Charles Mann, Dave Butts, Darrell Grant, and shy and retiring Dexter Manley. Calvin Daniels, Neil Olkowitz, and Rich Malott, the linebackers. In the secondary, Darrell Green, Vernon Dean starting for Tim Morrison, Alvin Walton, the rookie, and Curtis Jordan, the safety.
And that first pass of Flutie's was right on the hands of Willie Gault.
Marcus Cook, number 74, in there, and the Redskins are using 5 defensive linemen. And Monty Coleman is the first one to get him, as he is stopped at the 35-yard line by Coleman, and help from Todd Bowles.
The Redskins normally play a 4-man defensive front. This time they go to 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's one reason for that. They do not want to lose this football game to Walter Payton. They're going to force Doug Flutie to throw the football by taking away the running game. If Flutie can win it, they'll say congratulations, but they're going to clog the line of scrimmage with the extra defensive line.
Lou Barnes and Dennis Gentry are in, and the Bears have 4 wide receivers on 3rd and 9. And movement all over the place. be a first down pending the penalty. A 12-yard gain by Doug Flutie. Up the middle, Ken Coffey.
Offside defense. No play. No play.
It is no play. And they'll bring the ball back and mark off the yardage.
No play.
The referee, Bob McElway, is saying that the whistle had blown. Monty Coleman, I know, came all the way across the line of scrimmage at the bottom. Let's take a look at it. Well, 2 Redskins are all the way, but the referee blew the whistle, stopping the play. So Doug Flutie's run has been negated.
It'll be 3rd down and a little less than 5 yards now in the opening minutes. And as you saw, the New York Jets and the Cleveland Browns are going into overtime at Municipal Stadium in Cleveland, all tied at 20 apiece. Close to first down yardage at the 24 is tackled by Darrell Green.
And those are 2 people that we're going to see together all afternoon, Willie Gault and Darrell Green. What the Bears do here is they start Gault out of the backfield. That's to make it more difficult for Darrell Green to catch up to him. Green's late getting there, but he makes a fine open field tackle. But that's something I think we're going to see a lot of today. Willie Gault operating out of the backfield to confuse Darrell Green.
Green will be watching Gault. As you look at the top of your screen, it'll be 1st and 10 for the Bears on the Redskin 24. A 61-yard kickoff return has put the Bears in this position. Peyton going right. Good block. Penalty marker is down, and Peyton is stopped inside the 15-yard line. The play made by Vernon Dean and Alvin Walton in the secondary. And Bob McElwee signals holding against the Chicago Bears. And Mike Ditka, who now has a better winning percentage.
Number 89, offense. Still first down.
Lou Barnes. The rest of the offense for the Chicago Bears. Keith Ortego was guilty on the penalty, and he starts with Gault at wide receiver. Emery Moorhead's the tight end. Suhey and Peyton are the running backs. Covert, Bortz, Hilgenberg, Thayer, and Van Horn up front for a Bear offensive line that was practically intact all year.
And that's frustrating for the Bears to have a holding call called on a wide receiver on a running play. Get in the guy's face, but keep those arms inside.
1st and 20, back to the 34-yard line. And Peyton on the draw play fights his way to the 32-yard line, and Dave Butts is there to make the stop.
Well, one of the matchups we'd love to keep an eye on all day is Jim Covert, number 74 of the Bears, working against Dexter Manley. They'll be Pro Bowl teammates in Hawaii, but today the bitterest of enemies, and that time a good job by Covert taking Manley to the outside and putting him on the ground.
2nd down and 18 at the 32-yard line. Minute. Gault, the intended receiver, and Darrell Green step for step. And it was Gault who told us the other day that Darrell Green is as quick as Carl Lewis. And of course he would know, being a track star in his own right.
Well, there was a race last year to determine who's the fastest man in the National Football League. In the finals, it was Darrell Green and Willie Gault, and Darrell Green won by about a half a step. Let's look at Doug Flutie at the end of the play. Now you see how he throws the football. It's kind of a sidearm motion and a little takedown at the end. No big deal there, but a pretty well thrown ball that time by Doug Flutie.
3 wide receivers for the Bears. Barry Wilburn and Todd Bowles. Extra men in the secondary for the Redskins on 3rd and 18 at the 32. Flutie steps up, tipped away and knocked, intended for Lou Barnes. And Flutie trying to ward off the pressure. It'll be 4th down. And coming in will be Kevin Butler, Dick Stockton, and Dan Deerdorf here in the opening quarter of the NFC Divisional Playoff here at Soldier Field, Chicago. Dennis Gentry returned the opening kickoff 61 yards, but the Redskins have held, and now Butler will try a 49-yard field goal with Steve Fuller holding. 11:39 remaining in the first quarter, no score. Butler 28 for 41 this year. And the kick is no good. It's off to the left, and the 49-yard attempt by Butler is no good. So the Redskins avoid a tremendous kickoff return by Gentry, and they'll handle the ball for the first time today when we come back to Soldier Field. Let's set the Chicago Bears defense. Dan Hampton, Steve McMichael, William Perry, and Richard Dent up front. The linebackers, you won't find any better than Otis Wilson, Mike Singletary, and Wilbur Marshall. The secondary, Mike Richardson and rookie Vesti Jackson are the cornerbacks. Dave Duerson and Gary Fensick, the safeties. And there is Jay Schrader, who for the first time in 6 weeks against the Rams in the wild card did not throw an interception. Brings out the Redskins 1st and 10 on the 32-yard line, following Kevin Butler's missed field goal attempt. George Rogers, the running back. Schrader to throw on 1st down. It's tipped, intended for Art Monk, and the man who got a hand on the ball was Otis Wilson.
Otis Wilson, maybe the most active. He's right at the top of the screen, and it's a good thing that he gets to work upfield and get his hand up into the air, because coming out of the backfield, Monk is going to be open. Mike Richardson's going to be late getting to him, and if it's not for Otis Wilson getting a hand on the football, that's a sure reception. It was a good throw by Schrader.
The other wide receiver is Gary Clark, who says he's 80%, slowed by a sprained ankle. He's at the bottom of your screen. 2nd and 10. Schrader had time, and he hits Don Warren, one of the 2 tight ends, and Warren is stopped at the 38-yard line by Otis Wilson. And the rest of the Redskin offense, Warren and Clint Didier, 2 tight ends, Monk and Clark the wide receivers, Rogers and Schrader. The offensive line, banged up Joe Jacoby and Russ Grimm. Jeff Bostic at center, R.C. Thielman's the right guard, and Mark May the right tackle, and Grimm is wearing a flak jacket. Kelvin Bryant is in the game. He's a receiving threat out of the backfield, number 24 on 3rd and 5. Schrader has time, and his pass is caught just shy of midfield by Gary Clark. And it'll be a 1st down for the Redskins on a pickup of 11. Vesti Jackson was covering.
Well, I think the Skins, more than anybody else, want to find out right away how healthy is Gary Clark, how tender is his ankle. He makes a break to the inside, and Jackson just giving him too much room. Good pass protection up front, a good throw by Schrader, a well-run route. Redskin 1st down.
Pro Bowl starter this year will be Gary Clark as George Rogers comes back in. 1st and 10 on the Redskin 48. And this time Rogers trying to turn the corner, and he doesn't do it. Dan Hampton with good pursuit. Hampton is not going to the Pro Bowl this year.
No, and he's not real excited about it. He tried to say, well, I go into every year not really expecting to go, but I don't really believe that's the truth. I think Dan Hampton's one of the best defensive linemen in the game, and I think it's just a numbers situation. I think there are other good players in the National Conference, and I think some of the guys who vote just don't want to send the whole Bear defensive team. You could do worse things.
You sure could. Kelvin Bryant back in there on 2nd and 10 for the Redskins on their own 48. Schrader up the middle, and it's caught by Bryant into Bear territory at the 44-yard line, where Mike Singletary makes the tackle. So the Redskins, for the first time, and they have the ball, get into Chicago territory.
I think what's key here is what kind of pass routes are the Redskins running. Watch Jay Schrader. He's getting back in the pocket, but he's planting and throwing. The quick underneath work. That time it goes to Kelvin Bryant, and I think we're going to see an awful lot of that today. No one stands in the pocket for 4 or 5 seconds against the Chicago Bears. If you don't have enough sense to adjust your passing game, you're in big trouble.
It's 3rd and 2, and Dan McQuaid and Rollie McKenzie, 2 offensive linemen, have come in as well on a power formation. Rogers, his 2nd effort on a spin, is close to a 1st down, and we'll see them sort it out. The stop was made by Mike Singletary, and Gary Fensick came up.
Well, we're going to have a measurement. What Singletary does is he comes up and he makes the big hit, but it's actually Gary Fensick, the first one upfield, who's going to force it back to the inside. What Singletary doesn't do, though, is he doesn't wrap up, and that's what he's got to do. Let's see how close they are.
And they're just short by about a foot, maybe even less. It'll be 4th down. 9:07 to go in the first quarter. And Joe Gibbs, playing it close to the vest, will decide to kick it, and Steve Cox comes into the game. Lou Barnes will go back for the Bears. So with 4th and inches, Joe Gibbs will give the ball up, and that's not a bad move.
No, it's not. They do not want to make anything easy for the Chicago Bears offense. They don't think that they can repeatedly drive 50, 60, 70, 80 yards. So they're going to make them start deep in their own territory. They don't care how many times they punt, Dick.
The ball drops at the 8-yard line, and it's down by the Redskins, and so they've got the Bears offense just where they want them. They'll mark it close to the 10-yard line. A 33-yard kick, but the placement was perfect. We're back at Soldier Field, no score with 8:43 remaining in the first quarter, and the Redskins have pinned in the Bears offense to their own 10-yard line, and that's where Doug Flutie will start this series. The Bears had a golden chance to get something going on that kickoff return. 61-yard, but Butler missed a field goal, and so now Chicago starts from their 10.
And wasted opportunities, always something you chart during playoff action.
Walter Payton and Matt Suhey. Tim Reitman in motion, and Suhey gets the call. Suhey brings it out to the 15 and a gain of 5 yards. Well, how exactly have the Bears distributed their offense this year?
It's not hard to figure out who's the big man in their offense as we look at wide receivers, tight ends, other backs, but look at Walter Payton. But look, Payton and the other backs together, 58% of the offense comes out of the backfield. That's an awful lot, and we'll take a look later on at the Redskins, and we'll see that they're actually quite the opposite.
Payton is the second leading receiver. And, of course, that's what he did on the ground this year. 2nd and 5 at the 15. Calvin Daniels went over, and Payton up the middle is stopped at the 18-yard line by Dave Butts. And another penalty here. Daniels took over for Mel Kaufman in the 6th week of the season, and the Redskins sorely missed Kaufman.
Offside, number 56, defense.
Daniels
Still 2nd down.
On the penalty.
This is Calvin Daniels right here at the bottom of the screen. Look how he's leaning up on that front foot. You know he's going to blitz, and something in Flutie's cadence is getting him started a little early. Charles Mann even flinched a little bit to the inside. That's the 2nd time now that a Redskin linebacker has been offsides. Remember, it was Monty Coleman the last time the Bears had the ball.
2nd down and 1 at the 19-yard line. Gentry in motion, and Matt Suhey will have the 1st down for the Bears out to the 23-yard line. Suhey did not carry the ball nearly as much this year in the past. Calvin Thomas, the backup, shared the position. Grant and Mann made the stop up front for the Redskins.
And we're looking at a drive for the Bears that can be successful even if no points are put on the scoreboard. When you start close to your own goal line, 1st downs even count more than points. Get a couple of 1st downs before you have to punt the football away. Make the Redskins start in their territory.
Once again, you saw how dominant the Bears were in rushing. 1st and 10 at the 23. Payton. Walter Payton. And Payton close to another Chicago 1st down. See where they spotted Calvin Daniels on the tackle, and now they have to sort away some of the athletes.
This is a play the Chicago Bears have run for years. They call it 49 EGO. The right guard, Tom Thayer, is going to lead. The left guard, Mark Bortz, follows. Even Covert's going to come into the action. The lead block is going to be over here by Matsui, and of course Walter Payton gets the ball. The Bears offensive line can run as well as any line in the league. And of course, so can the guy behind them.
Gain of 9 for Payton, 2nd and 1 at the 32. 6:15 to go, first quarter. No score. Payton, they have the first down. Neil Olkowitz trying to make the tackle from behind. Olkowitz, unsung performer with a big fumble recovery against the Rams.
Let's look at Dexter Manley. Mike Ditka told us yesterday one of the things we want to do is trap him. Let's see how he likes it. That time it's actually Matsui that comes in on a lead block, and then Tom Thayer is going to come in. He was going to wipe up on him, but Dexter was already on the ground. Mike got that little smile on his face and said, we'll see how he likes it.
And McMahon looking on with that contraption from the sideline. 1st and 10 for the Bears on the 33-yard line. Flutie getting time, going deep for Gold, who didn't turn around. And that might have been picked off if Green had gotten there in time. Curtis Jordan was also covering, and Gold had his head down.
Well, you can look at this one of two ways. Either Doug Flutie didn't throw the ball far enough, or Willie Gault didn't turn around soon enough. From that angle, it looked like Willie could have turned around and tried to spot the football before he did. He knew that could have been 6. I don't think he's mad at himself.
Flutie is 1 for 5 for 5 yards now. It's 2nd down and 10 for the Bears. Marcus Cook is a 5th defensive lineman. And Mike Ditka trying to make adjustments against this new Redskin front. Penalty marker down, and Flutie's pass is overthrown. The man he was going for was Dennis Gentry, and the Redskins got to Flutie eventually.
It's well known that the Bears audibilize a great deal. We get a motion call against the Bears, but the Bears audible as much as most teams in the league. Look at all the people the Redskins will put on the line of scrimmage. Let's get the call.
Motion, number 78, offense. Penalty is declined. 3rd down.
That's Keith Van Horn, the right tackle.
Let's look at the line of scrimmage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people. 9 people in a position to defense the run. There may have been a run called, and Flutie had to audible to the pass. That's what the Skins would like to do to him all day long. Take the running game out of the Bear repertoire.
And here's a guy making his 2nd NFL start, and he's got to be confused at some point because of this.
Well, I mean, what can you expect of a fellow making his 2nd start? But he's going to do what he's told. When there are 9 guys on the line, you audible to the pass.
4 wide receivers for the Bears on 3rd and 10 on their own 33. Running away from the rush, and Dexter Manley chasing him. Flutie loses the ball, throws it up for grabs, and it's out of bounds. And the Redskins are claiming an eligible receiver downfield, and Manley really chased Doug Flutie back to the 15-yard line. It's 4th down.
And Dexter is a little lucky on this play. He's got contained, and because of Jimbo Covert going between his legs, Doug Flutie's actually outside of him, but Doug drops the football. And that allows Dexter to get back in there and make Flutie pay for it. Some nerves, I think, starting to surface on Doug Flutie.
Manley and Butts both told us yesterday that Flutie has never been hit. They wanted to change that. So Maury Buford will punt, and Eric Yarber, a rookie, is back for the Redskins. Good kick by Buford. Yarber at the 27 falls down. And is finally sealed at the 31 by Reggie Phillips. A 41-yard kick. Still no score with that much time remaining in the 1st quarter. The Redskins are playing their first road playoff game ever under Joe Gibbs, and they'll have the ball 1st and 10 on the 31-yard line. 4:52 remaining. In the 1st quarter, no score, and Jay Schrader for the 2nd time. George Rogers, the running back. Receivers to the left. Art Monk moves. Rogers cuts up the middle. And with good power running, Rogers gets close to a first down. Dave Duerson on the tackle. Gary Fensick was also there. And Dan, you talked about the Bears' distribution of yardage. What about the Redskins?
Well, remember I told you that 58% came out of the the Bear backfield, Walter and the others. Look at the way it breaks down for the Skins. Only 22% for George, but look at the wide receivers. This is a big play offense, and that's all because of the arm of Jay Schrader.
2nd and 1 at the 40. Rogers will have the first down for the Redskins. Dan Hampton making the tackle. Rogers gained 115 in the wild card game against the Rams, and that was his first 100-yard effort in 5 games.
And that's what they like to see. Unglamorous football. Like I said initially, they just feel that they put too much pressure on Jay Schrader, and that pressure intensifies a great deal in the playoffs.
1st and 10 Redskins on their 42. Monk goes wide to the left, and the pass incomplete. Off the hands of Art Monk. Offending was Vesty Jackson. And it looked like, Dan, they wanted to get Monk one-on-one on the outside.
And they did. It's just that Art dropped the football. Again, that quick rhythm pass. Vesty Jackson was right behind Art, and that ball actually hit Art Monk right between the 8 and the 1 on his front shoulder pads.
He's wearing gloves as he said he would, but he said he wears all kinds of gloves during the game.
Well, he should have worn ones that were a little stickier that time. That was a very catchable ball.
Kelvin Bryant in the game in the backfield for the Redskins. 2nd and 10. Rushing to the 45, and Kelvin Bryant fighting his way to midfield, where it'll be 3rd down and 2 for the Redskins, and Mike Richardson has to be separated from Gary Clark with a little sparring there. Fensick and Richard Dent made the last play.
And Richard Dent made the play, though, well after he should. He's got contain on this play, and by the time that he realizes Bryant's to the outside, it's too late. Of course, there's really no sin in not being able to see around Joe Jacoby. That guy absorbs sunlight. It's tough to look around a guy that's 6'7", 6'8", and about 320 pounds.
3rd and 2 in midfield. Against the pressure, Schrader completes to Kelvin Bryant, who goes out of bounds after picking up the first down and getting into Bear territory at the 41-yard line. Fensick made the stop. So Kelvin Bryant, who can run, catch, and make you miss him in the open field.
There's Kelvin Bryant just releasing at the top. Otis Wilson is totally free on the play, which means Schrader has to make the quick read. Bryant has to adjust his route. Both of them working perfectly, and it's a nice play for a Redskin first down.
Gain of 9 for the former USFL star.
And right now, the Redskins are handling the Bear blitz.
At the 41 of the Bears, 1st and 10. Play action. Schrader and Art Monk fell down. He's covered over there by Duerson and Jackson. Art Monk, who led the Redskins last week with 5 catches, set the NFL record with 106 2 years ago.
The conclusion of Art Monk's pass route, and that's what's called just getting too much of your weight out front. You can only stop so quickly. Also wonder how much of an effect it is for Art Monk, who plays most of his games on a grass field, now falling down early here, playing with a game on artificial surface. Maybe it makes a difference.
Redskins are 3-2 on artificial surface this year. 2nd and 10. Schrader on the run, and he hits Gary Clark for a first down and out of bounds at the 28-yard line, covered by Vesty Jackson, the pickup of 13.
All 3 Bear linebackers come on that play. There's Singletary coming in the middle, but Schrader senses it, rolls out, gets a clear alley, and a fine delivery of the football to Gary Clark. You know, yesterday Jay Schrader looked at both you and I, Dick, and said, I hope they blitz me. I love to play against the blitz. Hey, I thought there was something wrong with the guy. I said, you've never seen the Bear blitz, but look how well he's doing.
He's unfazed, and that's uncommon for a quarterback who doesn't have that much experience himself. First and 10 at the 28 of the Bears. No score. Dent chasing Schrader. And Schrader going for Didier and throws it out of bounds with Richardson defending on the play. Richard Dent penetrating for the first time in this quarter.
Let's look at the Richard Dent Joe Jacoby show. Okay, Jacoby has the cast on the right hand. He overcommitted to the outside. When Dent went inside, he couldn't stop him. Attribute that one to the cast. There's a good look at that big cast he has on his right arm. Keep in mind, Richard Dent worked right across his chest. That big right hand should have been right in his big black jersey to stop him. He couldn't get it there in time.
Second and 10 at the 28. Kelvin Bryant replaces Rogers. Bears are showing a blitz. And Schrader has to get rid of it, and he does, and it's caught by Art Monk for a touchdown. A 28-yard touchdown pass. And if they were concerned about Jay Schrader's ability to recognize the blitz, he passed the first test, and with flying colors, and the Redskins lead 6-0.
Live by the blitz, die by the blitz. Only it takes skill to do it. And I'm sure Mike Ditka can hardly believe what he's just seen. They came up the middle. McMichael was free. Schrader was up to the task.
Art Monk makes it 6-0. And now Jess Atkinson, who replaced Mark Mosley and Max Zendejas, kicks the extra point, and the Redskins lead it 7-0. And Art Monk, who has been a consistent, brilliant receiver, catches this big one.
Here's Gary Fensick. Here's Mike Singletary. They're both going to come up the middle. McMichael's going to be free, but Schrader gets rid of the football so quickly. And it is so hard to make a quality throw like this falling backwards. McMichael's in your face, and he's got the arm strength to get it like that to Art Monk. Boy, there just aren't many people that can make that play. Jay Schrader just did.
2:15 remaining in the first quarter, and so far a shocker. A pretty healthy scoring drive by the Redskins. Jay Schrader 3 for 6, and he capped it with a touchdown pass to Art Monk to make it 7-0. There's the Redskin offense on the sideline, and Art Monk who caught the big one. And now Steve Cox will kick off, and in Cleveland, the Jets and the Browns are going into a second overtime, all tied at 20 apiece. Deep for the Bears, Dennis Gentry and Thomas Sanders. And a line drive kick picked up at the 25 by Calvin Thomas and run to the 35.
Let's look at the play that Jay Schrader got the touchdown pass to Monk. Here is Gary Fensick. Here is Mike Singletary. They're going to be picked up by Bostic. They're going to be picked up by Thielman. But then watch McMichael come to the outside, and watch how McMichael actually is pushing Schrader back when he releases the football. Imagine being able to throw the football accurately and with power, being pushed backward by Steve McMichael. Jay Schrader, some kind of athlete.
Calvin Thomas is in the backfield with Walter Payton. First and 10 Bears on their 34. Flutie so far is 1 for 7 passing, and he's missed his last 5. Flutie is getting enough time, and the protection collapses, and Dexter Manley, Neil Olkowitz, all surrounded Doug Flutie, and a loss back to the 27-yard line, and the first sack of the ball game for either side.
And that time the blitz pays off for the Redskins. They're going to bring just about everybody, and it's Neil Olkowitz that actually comes in late and forces Flutie to the ground. It would appear now that the Redskins seem to be dictating what goes on the field defensively.
And this is the first time that the Bears defense in the last 10 games have allowed a touchdown in the first half. On top of that, the Bears offense is facing 2nd and 17 back at the 27. Wardigo in motion. Payton, penalty marker down. And Payton is hit and tackled by Olkowitz from behind at the 32-yard line. And another flag. Bob McElwee, the referee. And it'll be against the Chicago Bears.
Illegal motion, number 87, offense.
Emery Moorhead, the tight end. How tough were the schedules of these teams? Well, the Redskins had a tough schedule, 49% winning percentage, but the Bears were the lowest in the NFL. Their opposition just under 40% winning percentage.
They had the easiest schedule in the NFL going into the season. It even ended up that way as we see the Browns now win in overtime. A field goal does it in the second overtime. So Cleveland a winner. They get to stay at home now.
And that had to be Mark Mosley who kicked the winning field goal, a former Washington Redskin who was dropped by the Skins. He wins it for the Browns today.
They retain the home field advantage in the AFC.
Much tougher than they anticipated. 3rd and 12 at the 32. Flutie rushing away. Charles Mann put the pressure on, and the ball was tipped by Mann. We're at Soldier Field in Chicago. Dick Stockton and Dan Deerdorf in the NFC Divisional Playoff. And a surprise thus far, the Redskins leading the Bears 7-0. Dennis Gentry returned the opening kickoff 61 yards. Kevin Butler missed a long field goal. And then Jay Schrader hit Art Monk with a 28-yard scoring strike to give the Redskins their lead. And now on 4th down, Maury Buford will kick. Eric Yarber goes back for the Redskins. Yarber at the 25. And just falls down at the 32-yard line and down there by Jim Morrissey. Here was the only touchdown, a big one for Washington.
And it's Jay Schrader and Art Monk beating the blitz. Fensick Singletary up the middle, and with McMichael in his face, Jay Schrader falling backward, drops in a beautiful pass to Art Monk, which really, I think hasn't happened to the Chicago Bears in a long time. And it's exactly what the Redskins wanted. They say, give us the blitz, we'll beat it.
And the Bears gave up their first touchdown in 10 games in the first half. And now the Redskins with the ball 1st and 10 on the 32. George Rogers has an opening. And Rogers carries it out to the 41-yard line and gets 9 on that play. Dan Hampton had help from Mike Richardson, and Rogers off to a fine start for the Redskins.
This play is called 60 counter gap by the Redskins. The key blockers, it's going to be the left guard right here, Russ Grimm. It's going to be the left tackle, Joe Jacoby, getting upfield. It's the old counter step and go. Does the Bear defense move to the right? Yes. Grimm, Jacoby get upfield. George Rogers. That's an easy run. A good 9 yards.
2nd and 1 at the 41. Rogers. 1st down, Redskins at the 44. Held up right there by William Perry. And the clock has run down, and the Redskins very quietly have dominated the first quarter against the defending world champion Bears. We start the second quarter here at Soldier Field in Chicago with the Washington Redskins leading the Chicago Bears 7-0. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Redskins, and Jay Schrader, who threw the touchdown pass that we'll show you in a moment to Art Monk, 28 yards, to account for the only score in this ball game. And here are the passing statistics thus far.
And defensively, 1 goal, pressure both of these quarterbacks, whether you're the Skins or the Bears. Who's responded? I think it's plain to see that it's been Jay Schrader. It looks like he's more in control of what's happening on the football field. I'm grasping for adjectives. I think superlative would be one to describe his first quarter.
But there's still 3 to play, and of course the Redskins know that as well as anyone. But right now, it's 1st and 10 for Washington on their own 44. Schrader's pass to Clark at the 47, stopped by Mike Richardson. There's the winning field goal in the second overtime by Mark Mosley, a 27-yard field goal gave the Cleveland Browns the 23-20 victory over the New York Jets after the Jets had a lead of 20-10 in a game that was too close to for comfort for the Browns, but they'll advance.
I'm sure a lot of people on the Redskin bench are saying, nice job, Mark. If they've heard about it, they'll be happy for him.
2nd and 6. Into a stone wall, gets into midfield. It'll be 3rd down and about 4.5. Walter Payton, a big part of the offense for the Bears, looking on. For those teams who have been in a short week, 6 days, wild card winners, they have lost 7 of 8 games with less than 7 days preparation. The Jets almost made it 2 wins. And the Redskins are leading here with only 6 days of preparation. It's 3rd and 3 at the Bear 49. Schrader being chased, throws it away. And pressure put on by Dave Duerson from the secondary. And Richard Dent from up front. 4th down.
This is Richard Dent coming from the stand-up position. Don Warren and Clint Diddy are both trying to get him. But what happens? Both guys on Dent. Duerson's free. But Schrader did what he had to do. He just threw the football away. They came into this game, Dick, saying, I will not make the critical mistake. So far, he hasn't.
There's Lou Barnes. He's back for the Bears, and Steve Cox will punt for Washington. 13:27 to go in the 2nd quarter. 7-0 Redskins. Barnes lets it bounce, and now trying to pick it up on the run, and kicked it out of bounds, and they'll mark it at the 25-yard line. Lou Barnes, the rookie from Oregon, and a 29-yard punt. But so far, Dan, the Washington Redskins are working things the way they wanted to here in the NFC playoffs, with the Redskins leading the Bears 7-0 early here in the 2nd quarter.
Well, the one thing about it, you have to say this, Dick, is that I thought the Bears had the Redskins over a barrel early after the big kickoff return by Gentry. They didn't capitalize on it, and now it's the Bears that have to go long distances to score. This time they got to go 75 yards. Exactly what Washington wanted.
1st and 10. Flutie has completed just 1 pass, and now Walter Payton is tackled. Got good acceleration on that play, and he is stopped just shy of the 30-yard line by Vernon Dean. Walter Payton going to the Pro Bowl for the 9th time. And Vernon Dean, the veteran, who is starting in place of rookie Tim Morrison, who has a sprained right knee. Dean actually started the year for the Redskins at right cornerback and lost his job.
I think we're going to see an awful lot of what we just saw in that play, and that's Walter Payton. Mike Ditka has got to do something to settle Doug Flutie down, and that something is get his running game underway.
But the big difference is the scoreboard, and the Bears offense has to get some points. 2nd and 5 at the 30. Flutie. Dave Butts chased him, and Tim Reitman, the tight end, makes the catch for a Bears 1st down at the 37. Olkowitz on the tackle.
In Doug Flutie's brief NFL career, every time he's made something happen, it's after he's been flushed out of the pocket. He's such a fine athlete this time, running to his right back into the middle to Reitman. But he has never really come up with a big play, just standing still in the pocket. When he's on the move, he's his most dangerous.
First and 10 Bears on their 37. Calvin Thomas, number 33, is back there with Payton. Henry puts the pressure on, but the pass is caught by Reitman again. And he picked up close to 9 yards that time. Calvin Daniels and Neil Olkowitz, 2 linebackers, brought down the tight end.
From behind, Doug Flutie drifting a bit to his right, but immediately look how Reitman is open, and the umpire has to duck to get out of the way of the football. Funny how receiver and quarterback look at each other like the fellow in the striped shirt isn't even there.
2nd and 1. Thomas has the first down and might have gotten more if he hadn't been tripped up at the line. First down on the Bears' 49-yard line. This is the team that's leading, and that's Joe Jacoby with the club-like cast on his right hand, and Jay Schrader, who led the Redskins to the only score in the game.
The thing about this Redskin team, I asked them about, do you feel that you're at a disadvantage because you didn't have 2 weeks off? They go all the way back to that '83 Super Bowl when they only had 1 week. They think it's an advantage for them. You got to like the power of positive thinking.
Neil Anderson in motion, the rookie from Florida. 1st and 10 at the 49. They're going for goal. And he'll be off. Touchdown, Bears. The score, Willie Gault with the catch and score from Doug Flutie, and Kevin Butler with Steve Fuller holding will attempt to tie up the game. And it's 7-all.
It starts at the line of scrimmage. Dexter Manley upfield. Jim Covert puts him on the ground. Flutie has time to look downfield. Now let's go to Darrell Green and Willie Gault. Now Darrell Green giving Gault the inside, gets fooled badly, and even when he tries to grab Gault, he can't make the play. Curtis Jordan, too late to get there. Speed. It's good for a touchdown.
Well, we expected the ground game to dominate, but so far, Gault and Monk have caught touchdown passes in a 7-7 game. Touchdown, and the Bears back in the game. Kevin Butler kicking off, and Dwight Garner at the 2, returning for Washington. And Garner, trying to protect the ball, is stopped by 2 men at the 22.
Watch Doug Flutie dropping back. Watch him pump and fake a pass. He's going to plant, and right there, that's what draws Darrell Green up on Willie Gault. Let's take a look at it, and I'm going to show you right here. Green's dropping in coverage. Right there is where Flutie pumps the football. He thinks it's coming to Gault. He steps upfield, and Flutie put it where he had to. Boy, that's funny how that works out. That's a great play by Doug Flutie and Willie Gault.
50-yard play. There's the scoring drive. 1st and 10 Redskins on their 24-yard line. Schrader gets away from Perry, and Art Monk and Mike Richardson going after the pass, incomplete. And that was a long throw, Dan, by Schrader.
That was a good 65 yards in the air. A game of catch here between Mike Richardson and Art Monk. Richardson almost got caught by not going up for the football. It was Art Monk that left the ground, and he almost came down with it. Mike Richardson took a chance by not going up at the same time.
We've been talking about the Bears' defense and the fact that the Redskins have scored. Only 2 teams, the Browns and Vikings, scored more than 1 touchdown against the Bears' defense in any game this year. Kelvin Bryant replaces Rodgers in the backfield for Washington. 2nd and 10 at the 24. Schrader, and a short pass hits Monk. Just a couple of yards and a penalty marker down, and away from the play Joe Jacoby, the refrigerator, and a few of the friends, and of course Richard Dent also there.
It was Dent and Jacoby, the primary
Personal
guys.
foul, unnecessary roughness, 95 defense.
It's against Dent, and it's going to be a personal foul, automatic first down for the Redskins. So here they are, Jacoby and Dent.
This is Joe Jacoby right here. Here is Richard Dent standing up on the outside. Let's see how these two guys lock up. Jacoby. Oh, he hits Dent right in the chest with that cast. Dent goes to the face. Well, Richard Dent has got his hands on Joe Jacoby's face mask, and that's really not very smart. I mean, he keeps it on there for 10 seconds. He waits for every official on the field to see it. That's a pretty stupid play by Richard Dent. If you're going to grab a guy's face mask, get it off in a hurry. Something tells me, though, that cast hurt in the chest.
Yeah, I would think. Dexter Manley, a cheerleader, watching Dent's play, and a few words, as usual, from Dexter. 1st and 10 now for the Redskins on their own 42-yard line, following the 15-yard penalty. George Rogers back in there, gets the call, and he's thrown for a loss. Wilson and Marshall.
Times has Otis Wilson come up with a big play. This is Otis just on the line of scrimmage. Watch him get upfield, fight through the block, and make the play. Takes on Russ Grimm, goes to the ground, fights back upfield, and still gets a hold of a leg of George Rogers. There are so many good athletes on this Bear defensive football team.
2nd and 13. Back to the 39-yard line. Schrader. And it's intercepted. Mike Richardson down the sideline to the 10, inside the 5. Richardson led the Bears with 7 interceptions. Big one here as Don Warren made the tackle and prevented a score.
This is what Jay Schrader did not want to do. Under pressure, try to force a completion. That's exactly what he did. Trying to go to Clark, Jackson, and Richardson, had the under over, and the ball severely underthrown. And Mike Richardson, right where he was, made the big play for Chicago. But Jay Schrader should have thrown that ball into the bench.
A 42-yard return by Mike Richardson, who allowed only 1 touchdown pass this year, and that was in the last game of the season against the Cowboys. And it's 1st and goal on the 4 for the Bears, who are looking to take the lead for the first time. 8 minutes and 19 seconds remain in the first half, and this crowd is at a fever pitch. Peyton to the 3. Ditka. And Gibbs, hoping his Redskin defense can be equal to the task. Rich Malott and Curtis Jordan stopped Peyton from scoring that time.
Let's take a look at it from the reverse angle. This is the Bears in their heavy formation. It's just tough to stop a pitch to Walter Payton. He gets the good alleyway, fights back to the inside, but when he's on the ground, there are 6 Redskins on top of it. They're getting to the ball.
2nd and goal at the 2. And the give is to Suey, who tried to slice in and didn't get much, and it's going to be 3rd down and about 1.5 yards. Neil Olkowitz and Dave Butts closed it down that time.
Neil Olkowitz, he works from the middle linebacker, but he has to anticipate. Fights through Hilgenberg's block, gets in on the play, but actually it was Butts up front that clawed that. Olkowitz came in for the cleanup.
Steve McMichael is in as a 3rd tight end now for the Bears on 3rd and goal at the 2. And they give it to Peyton. And Dexter Manley throws Peyton for a loss back to the 6-yard line, and a big play by the Redskins. And it's 4th down.
Joe Gibbs, what'd you think of that play? When you need a big one, how many times is Dexter Manley the guy that makes the play? A curious call that time by the Bears, trying to come all the way across with their offensive lineman. A pretty slow developing play. Manley read it all the way, and it was an easy play for him.
A big boost for the Redskins defense, and now Kevin Butler will try a 23-yard field goal. He missed from 49 in the first quarter. And Butler's kick is good. And the Bears take the lead for the first time today, 10-7. But they had first and goal at the 4, and they were looking for the touchdown. Threatening skies, but so far no precipitation. This was Mike Ditka's reaction to the field goal by Kevin Butler. 3 points is better than nothing, but the Bears were in great position to get 7. And now Kevin Butler will kick. Dwight Garner is the deep man for the Redskins. And Garner on the 6. Fumbles. And the Redskins recover. And it could have been more disaster for the Redskins as they pick it up on the 19-yard line.
And that ball lays there for a while. Garner's going to be hit by his own man. Confusion as the ball, but it's out before he hits the ground, and that ball lays there for at least a couple of seconds. Dave Duerson too late to get there. You don't need me to tell you that could have been costly for the Redskins.
That was Eric Yarber, you'll see, number 80, who recovers the fumble, and both primary Redskin kick returners, Yarber and Garner, were on injured reserve until late in the year, and they're both rookies. First and 10 for the Redskins on their 20-yard line, trailing 10-7. Rodgers, head down, crosses the 25. Tomorrow, CBS Sports coverage of the divisional playoffs continues, starting at noon with the NFL Today, and maybe the keenest matchup of them all, of all 4 games this weekend, the 49ers and the Giants.
Well, the 49ers are healthy, they're rested. Bill Walsh has had 2 weeks to work on a game plan, and even though the Giants are 14-2, you hear an awful lot of people saying that they think the 49ers are going to win.
They've been as hot as anyone coming into postseason.
They beat 3 playoff teams to get into the playoffs.
Second and 4 at the 26. Rodgers is tripped up. Wilber Marshall, and what a year Wilber Marshall had, finally getting the recognition. Pro Bowl this year for Wilber Marshall, richly deserved.
The Bears do a switch. This is Wilber Marshall right here, and this is Richard Dent standing to the outside. Just watch Marshall loop to the inside, knife inside, and he's in the backfield before George Rodgers even knows what's happening. That's a blow up front. Somebody from the Redskins should have been on Wilber Marshall.
Third down and 5 at the 25, and Kelvin Bryant enters the game again. Schrader with time, knocked away, intended for Art Monk, and a fine play by the rookie Vesty Jackson out of the University of Washington. It'll be 4th down.
And that's a risky throw by Jay Schrader because Jackson's coverage was perfect. It really was a well-thrown pass by Jay, but still, the coverage was almost too good to throw into.
Reggie Phillips had started the year at right cornerback. Keep in mind, Leslie Frazier was injured and did not play this year, and then Vesty Jackson took over. So on 4th down, Lou Barnes will go back, and Steve Cox will punt from the 10. And the ball takes a Chicago bounce, and it's down by the Bears at the 44-yard line. Good field position coming up for Chicago. How every game takes on its own characteristic, and Dan, so far it looks like the Redskins defense more than any other aspect of this game has been the dominant thing. Are you surprised?
No, well, I am in a sense. I didn't think they'd play as well as they're playing, but keep in mind, you know, they've had it just drilled into them how great the Bears defensive team is, and they're a fine defensive team themselves. And that goal line stand, hey, the Bears ran 3 plays, lost a yard, had to settle for a field goal. Let's wait and see how that figures in this ball game.
4 minutes and 11 seconds remaining in the first half, and he has been an active fellow, number 72, Dexter Manley. But the Bears will have good field position on their own 44-yard line. Rookie Neil Anderson and Walter Payton. And Payton now the lone back. Anderson in motion, and Manley came from behind before the ball was snapped.
And he draws a flag. You cannot take a free shot on the quarterback like that, Dexter. Dexter Manley making a colossal mistake.
.515 situation.
Well, this one I'm anxious to hear.
Yours was a dead ball.
Personal foul. Number 72 defense. Unnecessary roughness. Encroachment defense will be declined.
They'll take the big one. Dexter Manley, unnecessary roughness.
So a pair of mistakes by the Redskins, but this certainly, Dexter Manley knew he was offsides. You just, I mean, there's no excuse for taking a shot like that at a quarterback.
Personal foul, 72 defense, unnecessary roughness is accepted. 15 yards, automatic first down.
Well, I'm sure that Joe Gibbs is not happy about some of the things that Dexter Manley says. Right now, he is displeased at what Dexter Manley did on the playing field.
Well, a common thread that you heard from a lot of the Redskin defensive players was, and Dick, you mentioned it earlier, they didn't think that Doug Flutie had really been hit. They think he drops back on his heels when he throws the football, and they wanted to physically challenge him today. Hey, but there are ways to do it, and there are ways to do it, and that's not one of them. Dexter Manley, lucky he's still in this game. Dexter tries to give him a little bit, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't really mean it. Doug being more than gracious. Dexter, that might qualify in the old too little too late category.
But you know, even getting hit by Dexter Manley, considering where he was 3 months ago, back at his home in Natick, Massachusetts, Doug Flutie is very happy to be out there getting hit by Manley.
Well, I think one thing, he proved he could take a hit. I'll say that. He was up and at him and even gave him a little pat. Doug, I think you could stop being such a gentleman. I know Mike Ditka calls you Bambi, but you don't have to be that nice. Now we're having a little more confusion.
They're staring at the football as if they hope it will rise up and fly away. 4:11 remaining. It's 10-7 the score. And then maybe they're looking at a replay of some sort. I don't know what it would be about.
The offsides penalty killed the play. That was 5 yards. The additional 15 yards is tacked on, additional to the 5 yards.
So they get both. Double jeopardy, the 5 yards penalty offsides, as well as the 15. It's a big gainer for the Bears.
I think it's 20 yards, right? 15, 5. Pretty good, huh?
They'll take that. Art McNally is the man in the middle. Don Weiss on the right. 1st and 10 at the 36-yard line of the Redskins. The Bears lead 10-7. Flutie completes the pass to Keith Ortego, who had only caught 2 passes in the last 6 games, and he's knocked out of bounds by Darrell Green, and he picked up good yardage there.
From the sidelines, Doug Flutie behind good protection. Covert is taking Manley way out of the way, opens up a passing lane, and Ortego, rather than just run out of bounds, wisely turns upfield, picks up a couple more yards than he would have gotten if he would have allowed his momentum to just carry him out of bounds.
It'll be 2nd and 1, and Ortego, who moved into the starting lineup. They're at the 27 of the Redskins. Payton, close to first down yardage. Neil Olkowitz made the initial hit and was followed up by Curtis Jordan.
All 3 Redskin linebackers are going to blitz. They're going to come here, they're going to come here, they're going to come here, but it's going to be Olkowitz that's going to make the play. Playing the run all the way. Upfield, Olkowitz into Walter Payton, makes the play and keeps him short of the first down yardage.
Slowed him up just enough, and the Redskin defense, which has already proven itself in dramatic fashion on a goal line stand, now faces a 3rd and 1. On the Skins 27. They go to Payton, and it's going to be close as Payton tried to back his way in. It was Dave Butts and Monty Coleman coming up on the play.
I don't think he's going to be there.
We may have a measurement here. And no, we won't. It'll be 4th down. And they look to the sidelines. And Flutie is going to run a play on 4th down and less than a yard.
Notice how Doug Flutie still comes to the sidelines after every play. Still not quite sure of the signaling system. He runs all the way over to the sidelines after every play to get the call from Ditka himself.
Tom Beasley, a good run defender, replaces Dexter Manley. Bears were 5 of 12 on 4th down plays. That's pretty good this year. Quarterback sneak, and it looks like Flutie has it. Bears have had 4 starting quarterbacks this year. And Doug Flutie is the 4th as they sort it out, and
they may have lost Flutie in there. You know, he's not a very big guy. They may have found the football before Flutie.
They're going to measure it and bring it out. Bears are confident of this measurement. Jim McMahon was 6-0 as a starter. Tomczak was 6-0. And there you see 1st down Chicago. Steve Fuller was 1-2 as a starting quarterback, and Flutie in his 2nd start won his previous game over Dallas. And it's a 1st and 10 at the 26 of the Redskins.
We'll see how Mike goes to the sidelines. I mean, Doug rather goes to the sidelines to talk to Mike Ditka. You'd think by this stage of the game that he really wouldn't have to do that.
Well, he doesn't wear the plays on the wrist anymore, or the formation. Neil Anderson in motion. And the 2-minute warning has come up.
2-minute warning.
Flutie and the Bears lead it 10-7. Each quarterback has thrown a touchdown pass, and Kevin Butler's 23-yard field goal has been the difference thus far. 2 minutes to go in the 1st half, and the Bears leading the Redskins 10-7 after Washington moved in front 7-0. Timeouts remaining. Each team has 3, and the Bears with a 1st and 10 on the Redskin 26, and that's how popular Mike Ditka is with some people around here. Kurt Becker has replaced Mark Bortz at left guard for Chicago. Play action, and Flutie gets away from Butts. And the pass is incomplete. It was intended for Tim Reitman.
Doug has to be shaking his head. I think even he realizes it's amazing he came out of that. As we look at Willie Gault, who is on the opposite side of the field, but as Doug scrambles out, Willie all by himself. Doug over here, but he throws it back across field on a one-hopper. But what an athletic play by Flutie to not get sacked by Butts. I mean, it looked like to me like there was no way he could get out of that.
He is nimble of foot, is Doug Flutie, and of course the man you just saw, Gault, caught the touchdown pass of 50 yards to bring the Bears back. 2nd and 10 at the 26. Marcus Cook is the 5th defensive lineman up front for the Redskins now. Flutie up the middle, and Ortego can't hold on. It'll be an incomplete pass, and a crunching hit by the free safety Curtis Jordan there.
That was a dart from Doug Flutie. Keith Ortego makes his move to the inside. And boy, look at that, as the cornerback Vernon Dean went all the way down to the ground. Dean fell. Ortego has a sure touchdown if it's not for Curtis Jordan getting back into the play. Look at Vernon Dean look over and say, thanks, Curtis.
Leads the team in tackles and has the most playoff action of any of the Redskins.
That's exactly what you expect out of your safety.
Bears have 1 of 6 on 3rd down conversions. They're on the 26.
5 linemen in the game for Washington.
3 wide receivers now on the right, and a penalty marker down. Flutie being chased by Charles Mann and goes out of bounds wisely. at the 20-yard line, short of a first down. But the penalty marker was thrown backfield. So far, the Redskins have avoided some threatening situations. Mike Richardson with the interception and a 1st and goal on the 4.
Illegal motion. 2 men moving. Number 2.
And of course here Dexter Manley applying the hit on Flutie in a 15, actually a 20-yard penalty, and so far the Redskins are standing up well against that.
And the one thing you realize in watching the Bears, as we're going to take a look at the reverse angle, is what kind of an athlete is Flutie. Now we see Gentry in motion, but it may have been that Doug Flutie was moving a little bit before the snap of the football. But when you watch Flutie move after the play, boy, you really come out of it with a feeling that this guy is quite an athlete. Kind of reminiscent of the way Steve Young in Tampa runs with the football.
Flutie is popular with his teammates. I should say most of them. 3rd and 15 on the 31. Inside handoff to Payton. Blocking is Mark Gortz in the game. And Payton goes out of bounds at the 24-yard line. And he was chased there by Monty Coleman. It'll be 4th down, and the Bears, who are leading by 3, will try to stretch it to 6 as Kevin Butler enters the game to try a field goal. Butler has made good on a missed a 48-yarder, made good on a 23-yard attempt. This will be from 41 yards.
And the 2nd consecutive time that the Redskin defense has forced the Bears, even though they had good field position, to try for a field goal rather than 6 points.
The last time they had a 1st and goal. Fuller will hold. Butler's kick is good. Kevin Butler, who provided the margin of victory in 5 games for the Bears this year, has kicked his 2nd field goal in 3 tries, and it's now 13-7.
He knows it's good, although it wasn't good by much. Oh, and a little point over to the Redskin bench. Is it good, Mike? It wasn't good by much. That's all you need to know. Right down the middle.
1:26 remaining. This is the 2nd quarter total offense, and it heavily favors the Bears, but the Redskin defense have kept them in the game right now, as it's 13-7 on 2 Butler field goals that could have been touchdowns if it weren't for Washington's airtight defense eventually. And now Kevin Butler will kick off to the Redskins, and Dwight Garner will be the deep man. Keep in mind that the Redskins have all 3 of their timeouts left, as do the Bears.
Which might come into play if the Redskins don't get a 1st down. Bears might be in a position to want to stop the clock and see if they can get some more.
Garner at the goal line. Another line drive kick. And Garner lets it go into the end zone, where it'll be down for a touchback. And the Redskins will move out to the 20 to start this drive. Well, coming up at halftime, Brent and Terry Bradshaw right there will have highlights of the AFC Divisional Playoff game and what a thriller it was between the Jets and the Browns that went into 2nd overtime. And Irv Cross and Will McDonough will have reports from the field. All that coming up at halftime.
Terry and Brent will model the latest in hat wear. You and I ought to get ourselves a couple of chapeaus like that. What do you think, huh?
I'd rather get a hat myself.
Oh, okay.
1st and 10 Redskins on the 20. That's what Schrader has done. Kelvin Bryant, a threat as a receiver in the backfield. Schrader, no place to go. And the first sack of the game by the Bears. Hampton and Dent.
And speaking of hats, Schrader just lost his.
Loss of 9.
From ground level, we see Otis Wilson coming on the blitz. Don Warren has him. The outside's taken care of, but Hampton, the penetration in the middle, gets by Bostic. Takes down Schrader, Dent from behind, and there goes the helmet.
And a good point you made about the Bears timeouts, because now they've used one of theirs in hopes of getting the ball back. And Chicago with 2 timeouts left and 1:19 remaining in the first half. Dick Stockton and Dan Deerdorf here at Soldier Field in Chicago. In the late afternoon in the Midwest, and the weather better than you might expect at this time of year in this area. The Redskins took a 7-0 lead, but the Bears have come back strong, leading 13-7. And it's been the Redskin defense that have prevented the score from being more in favor of the Bears at this time.
Joe Bugle and Joe Gibbs try to give Jay Schrader something to try to get out of this hole, because if they don't at least get a first down, the Bears will indeed get the ball back, and they may get it inside Redskin territory with any kind of a punt return. And I think that guy knows how to go for the throat. And that's called putting some more points on before halftime.
He's been pretty calm today, but he hasn't been that way all year.
Well, what did he say about being calm? I was calm a couple of years ago in San Francisco with my arms folded. He said, I'll never do that again. I'm going to be me until I'm gone.
2nd and 18. Back to the 12. Schrader can expect a lot of pressure. Kelvin Bryant turns the corner, and Kelvin Bryant gives Schrader some working room, and out of bounds at the 28. It was Dave Duerson with help from Vesty Jackson that time. Gain of 12 for Kelvin Bryant, who scored 7 touchdowns combined this year for the Redskins. Clock stops at 1:12.
Which in a way really hurts the Redskins, because even though they didn't get up towards the first down, the Bears did not have to use one of their timeouts to stop the clock. They still got 2 left, and this is 3rd down.
And 6. Ball at the 24. Schrader overthrows Kelvin Bryant. Otis Wilson put the pressure on Jay Schrader that time, and it's 4th down, and now the Bears are looking at over a minute to generate some more offense and 2 timeouts to work with, as Steve Cox comes in to kick it again for the Redskins. Lou Barnes goes back, and the crowd yelling Lou to see if the rookie from Oregon can break one.
You're tough, man.
1:07 remaining in the half. 13-7 Bears. Low snap, but Cox gets it away, and it's a beauty. Barnes on the run at the 29. Gets away from a couple and is finally stopped at the 31 following a 47-yard kick. Monty Coleman on the tackle. It'll be Joe Montana against that vaunted Giant defense tomorrow afternoon in the other NFC Divisional playoff game, and Bill Walsh somehow finds a way, doesn't he?
And Lawrence Taylor has already been talking about it this week. He said, I'd rather play any offensive team other than the 49ers. Joe Montana gets rid of the ball so quick, they remove me from the game. Even when I come clean, I can't get a hit on Joe Montana. So when you couple that kind of talk from the from the Giant defense, hey, it's easy to see they're concerned about the 49ers, and they should be.
But the Giants have won 9 in a row, and no one has won more than they have coming into postseason. 1st and 10 now, Bears at the 31. 54 seconds to go and 2 timeouts. Flutie completes to Goff. Stopped at the 48. But a big gain of 17 yards and a 1st down, and they quickly line up.
And that's a great call by Mike Ditka, showing confidence in your quarterback. You could have run out the clock, let him play football. You got to love it.
On 1st down at the 48, Flutie fires, tipped and intercepted by Vernon Dean. To the 43-yard line, 21 seconds to go. And so the mistakes that they hoped Flutie wouldn't make, in his zeal to get the ball in good field position, throws the interception.
Well, let's look from the end zone and see if this is Doug Flutie's mistake. Good pass protection. He feels a little heat, steps up. It's Monty Coleman underneath that gets his hand on the football, deflects it to Dean. Yep, that ball was thrown too low, and Coleman got a hand on it. Still, there's something about Doug Flutie. When he drops back, things seem to happen. There's no, I guess it's no secret why Mike Ditka has him starting, Dick. I mean, things just revolve around him. He's the center of attention all the time.
He's got something. Maybe it's a halo. Whatever it is, he's the man. But Vernon Dean picked that off, and now the Redskins, who have 3 timeouts of their own, have it 1st and 10 on their own 43-yard line with that much time to go in the half. Schrader looking for time. Incomplete. Didier was the closest man to the ball, and 3 blue-shirted Bears in the vicinity as well.
We would be remiss if, again, we didn't emphasize the Redskins and their defensive football team. Again, they came up with the big play. Twice before they forced the Chicago Bears into the field goals. It was tied 7-7 at one time. Twice with excellent field position. They have to settle for 2 Kevin Butler field goals. Now, when the Bears might be in an opportunity to score again, they come up with an interception. These guys are playing a real good football game.
And so are the Bears defensively. The Redskins have only 1 first down in this quarter, and that by penalty. 2nd and 10. Schrader directing traffic, and he completes it to Kelvin Bryant, and a first down. No, did they catch it? Yes. He caught it inbounds, and the clock runs out. He couldn't get out of bounds, and the clock ran out before the Redskins could call a timeout. At least that's the preliminary ruling.
Boy, that's something. If they ruled him in bounds, this angle looked like he was out of bounds after making the catch.
We'll see what Bob McElwee tells us. It looked like he got out.
Please put 3 seconds on
He got out of bounds.
Washington called timeout.
Or they called a
Washington.
timeout. It was a 25-yard gain.
Left on the clock.
And this is interesting now because the ball is at the 33-yard line.
Well, here's Kelvin Bryant. First of all, let's see if he got out of bounds. Boy, it's difficult to see, but no, the knees definitely did go down inbounds, so that is a good call there from the official. Let's look at it again. Do the knees go down inbounds? He's down. Fensick makes the hit. Yep, there goes the knee. Good call by the official. But upfield, Jay Schrader just turned to the referee, called for a timeout, and got it before the clock expired.
The officials gave Kelvin Bryant forward progress on the field, and that's why the clock kept going. Now, Steve Cox, who can kick the long field goals, in fact, he has kicked one from 58 yards, is in there, as is would-be holder Schrader. And with 3 seconds to go, kicked a 60-yarder, second longest to Tom Dempsey, and that's what the Redskins will do. This would be a 50-yard field goal for Cox. It's short. And that does it for the first half. The Redskins could have been worse off, but they trail anyway at halftime, 13-7 to the defending world champion Chicago Bears with 30 minutes of action to go. Halftime at Soldier Field in Chicago. Kickoff with the Bears leading 13-7, and it's been the Redskins out rushing and out passing the Bears in total yardage so far in the first half. Rodgers and Payton each have 29 yards on 10 carries in the ball game. Schrader has completed 9 of 19. He's over 100 yards at 102. And Doug Flutie 6 of 16 for 97 yards. So actually it's been kind of an even game in many respects, Dan.
Well, even in the sense that the cumulative total appears to be even, but when you saw the dramatic turnaround and who's played the best football lately, well, that's been the Chicago Bears, because the second quarter was theirs. Whether they can carry that into the second half, we'll find out quickly.
Well, the Bears have history going for them when they've had halftime leads, but the Redskins have been a comeback team this year. Kevin Butler will kick off. Dwight Garner is the deep man for the Redskins, and it's Garner at the 2. Garner trying to turn the corner. Bestie Jackson will knock him out of bounds, and a fine run back by Dwight Garner, a free agent rookie from the University of California, of 36 yards.
I assume coach's dream, well, when you're in the halftime locker room and you're losing, That's what you dream of. Taking the second half kickoff. You dream of it going all the way, but the Redskin coaches will take exactly what they got. And that's the ball up around their 39-yard line. That's not bad.
1st and 10. Clark and Bryant each caught 3 passes of the 9 thrown and completed by Schrader in the first half. Quick toss and a low one, incomplete, going to Clark. Vesty Jackson was there, but the throw was low, and Kelvin Bryant over by Joe Gibbs. Getting set to come back in the game as he does on 2nd and 3rd and long yardage. Joe Gibbs said that we might see a lot more of Kelvin Bryant on 1st down in this game.
Well, because I don't know that the Redskins came into this game with a whole lot of confidence of being able to take George Rogers and run him down the Bears' throat. The alternative is Kelvin Bryant.
But Rogers stays in on 2nd and 10. Almost picked off by Wilbur Marshall on a bullet throw by Jay Schrader. And Dan, now's the time to talk about, everyone knows about Taylor, but Marshall's all-around play at linebacker this year.
Well, he's phenomenal, and look at this. We see Otis Wilson driving up, driving to the outside, but Wilbur Marshall, who stays short, makes the read, floats into the alley, and gets up and almost comes down with it. Wilbur Marshall, of all the outside linebackers in the game, may be the best athlete of the group. Mike Ditka says he's certainly the best athlete on this football team.
5 interceptions, 5.5 sacks, 3rd and 10, and Kelvin Bryant has come in. Schrader under siege. Throws it away. And it was Steve McMichael and Vesty Jackson who chased Jay Schrader way back inside his 20.
And that's one thing the Bears wanted to show Jay Schrader, something he hasn't seen before, and that's a corner blitz. Vesty Jackson's going to come from the top of the screen. There's no way you pick up a corner when he comes free. See Jackson? There's nobody to pick him up. McMichael's clean in the middle. That's just a mistake. But Jackson forces the play harmlessly. Schrader just has to dump it into the middle of the field.
Steve Cox will punt it away, and Lou Barnes is back for the Bears. Great kick by Cox sends Barnes back to the 7. And Barnes with some nifty running comes all the way back to the 30, where it's Tim Morrison who makes the stop, a 23-yard return.
Joe Gibbs, Jay Schrader on the sidelines. He's explaining that was Vesty Jackson that came from the outside. Jay's got to be saying, I know he was coming, coach, but that big 76 McMichael was right in my face. What do you expect me to do?
And you know what hurt the Redskins on that series was the 1st down low pass to Clark, where they could have picked up 4 or 5.
Cold day, first pass of the second half. I'm not surprised.
1st and 10 Bears on their own 30. Thomas is back in there with Walter Payton. And it's Thomas for about a yard. Calvin Thomas, who's been alternating with Suey. And the Bears rich in running backs when you consider Sanders, Thomas, and Anderson, and that's why they moved Dennis Gentry from running back to wide receiver. We're at Soldier Field in Chicago for the NFC Divisional Playoff between the Redskins and the Bears, Dick Stockton and Dan Deerdorf. And it's the Bears who lead it 13-7 with that much time remaining in the 3rd quarter. Anderson replaces Thomas. Penalty marker down. Flutie being chased by Mann, and Olkewicz fires it out of bounds. And it looked like a Redskin lineman had moved.
It was Dexter Manley who came across the line, and a smart play by Flutie. It's a free play. You know what? If he's offsides, which he is, hey, go ahead and take the play to fruition. If you hit a big play, all you have to do is decline it. The ball is still live. Not a banner day so far for Dexter.
The microphone may not be working, and Bob McElwee getting some help. Temperature has dropped to 31 degrees. The wind has picked up a little bit. Last year was far different conditions.
Oh, it was in the teens when the game started. 31 degrees, though, for the players. That's not inclement weather at all. It's really not much of a problem.
2nd and 4 at the 36. Ortego comes in motion. Flutie steps up and throws deep. And the ball is out of bounds. Anderson was covered by Alvin Walton. And that had a high arc to it for the first time.
Doug, looks like that ball did not go as far as he intended it to. The ball kind of floated out of Doug Flutie's hands. Neil Anderson has to stop, and that gives Walton time to react back into it, and the ball's out of bounds anyway. But that ball looked like it just floated away from Doug Flutie. He's not happy with the throw at all.
When we talked to him in Sewanee, Georgia, Flutie said that the best scenario he could have imagined this year would be playing for his hometown New England Patriots, even as the 3rd-string quarterback. He never dreamed of this.
As we said, money was not a question. It came down to really the Packers or the Bears.
I wonder why is he here in Chicago?
3rd and 4 with 5 down linemen. Willie Gault makes the play, and Darrell Green brings him down. On 3rd down, it's a very important measurement, and they're short of a 1st down by about a yard or more.
Boy, and what a good open field tackle by Darrell Green. We've got 5 down linemen in the game. 2, 3, 4, 5. That's to stop the run and give pressure. It's a defense the Redskins have been using. They did complete the pass to Gault, but Darrell Green kept him from picking up the 1st down.
So on 4th down, Maury Buford will kick, and they send Darrell Green back for the first time to return the punt. Green returned kicks 12 times this year and averaged 10 yards. And they're going to let that bounce, and it goes out of bounds at the 31-yard line. Not a great kick by Buford, and he knows it. 30 yards.
Big defensive plays aren't always spectacular plays, and Darrell Green, with a simple open field tackle, forced the Bears into a punting situation. Willie Gault's going to stop, try to get upfield. You see the 1st down marker, and look at Darrell Green. He had to come all the way across the formation. Gault was in motion. We talked about that matchup. That's as good as you can do it by Darrell Green.
Jay Schrader has hit 2 of his last 11 passes, and 1 was picked off. So he's not exactly red hot as he brings the Redskins out 1st and 10 on the 31-yard line. 13-7 Bears. Rogers with May blocking. Busts a tackle almost and picks up 4 yards. But Mike Singletary is there to make the tackle for the Bears. We have not called his name that much, but he is the heart and soul of that Chicago defense.
Mike Singletary sometimes, I guess, bears the burden of being too good. Sometimes you can be too good, you're not spectacular. You're never out of position to have to come flying back in there and make the difficult tackle.
Kelvin Bryant comes in. 2nd and 7 on the Redskins 34. Bryant gets the carry. And Kelvin Bryant goes outside and is out of bounds. Shy of a 1st down, I think, by a half a yard. Don Warren with a good block.
Boy, it's close. They sat the ball right on the chain, right on the marker.
Well, he may have it as I look at the line judge at the 41-yard line. They're going to measure it in any event. 11:39 remaining in the 3rd quarter and a tight ball game. 2 Butler field goals, the difference for Chicago.
I don't think many people expected this to be a 39-37 ball game.
Hardly. They're short by about a half a foot on 3rd and 1, and Raleigh McKenzie and Dan McQuaid, who actually filled in for Jacoby and Grimm when they were hurt against the Rams last week, come in now on a short yardage play.
A lot of teams will bring in 1 extra lineman. The Redskins bring in 2. They call it their heavy, their jumbo, their blimpo, whatever you want to call it. They're putting some pounds in white jerseys on it.
I like blimpo, as a matter of fact.
Well, let's start it. The blimpo formation.
George Rogers is the running back, and Don Warren is the up back. Rodgers, more than enough for a first down to the 46-yard line. And the tackle by Singletary and Duerson. Rodgers slow getting up.
This is the heavy jumbo. McQuaid, McKenzie are the two tight ends. This is normally the tight end, Don Warren. He's at the fullback position. Didier in motion. That's a big surge heading right into the hole. And watch the blue jerseys start to move backwards. Don Warren, a good lead block, gets in there on top of Singletary. Easy first down for the Redskins.
At the 46 with 11 minutes to go, third quarter. Quick toss, and it's complete to Clark, who's wrestled down. His forward motion will bring him into Bear territory at the 49-yard line, and a gain of 5. Bestie Jackson on the play, and Gary Clark, who's had that sprained ankle, has been a battler, gritty battler so far today with 4 catches.
And that's pretty good production from someone who really was a question mark all the way up to opening kickoff. Joe Gibbs said we're going to have to see how much Gary can do. I asked him yesterday to put a percentage point on how he thought he was physically. He said 80%. You'll see no 4-4s out of me tomorrow. Talking about a 40-yard dash time.
5th in the NFC the last 2 years in receiving. 2nd and 5. Justin Bear's territory. Schrader at time and throws the ball down as Perry and Hampton put some pressure up front. Didier, the intended receiver on that play.
Let's look at some of the Chicago Bears defensive line stunts. This is Richard Dent. He's going to crash to the inside. William Perry will loop to the outside. The problem is he loops so slow that by the time he gets around the corner, I'm telling you, he's not covering that ground very fast. Dan Hampton got there first from the other side, and the rotund one, a little slow around the corner.
And a little wide around the middle. 3rd and 5 at the 49. Sean Gale, Todd Bell, the nickel package in for the Bears defense. And here comes the blitz. Fumble. And the Redskins recover. And it was Bestie Jackson, and it looked like another cornerback blitz by the Bears.
That's exactly what it was. And I think Bestie Jackson is actually the guy that's going to get a hand on the football. Let's see. Here's Bestie Jackson right here. Let's follow his arc into the quarterback. And I believe he stripped Schrader of the football. Yeah, right there. Bestie Jackson knocks it to the ground. Unfortunately, 3 Bears went for Schrader and not the football. Unfortunately for the Bears.
So Cox is in the punt, and the Bears defense does it again. Lou Barnes is back. And a good high kick will send Barnes to the 9. Good coverage by the Redskins on special teams. There's a fumble. And they now say the ball was whistled dead at the 11-yard line. Dean Hamill with tremendous coverage along with Barry Wilburn. But it was Hamill who made the stop. The Bears are hemmed in on their 11. The Bears lead the Redskins 13-7. And if you want to really know how much Mike Ditka likes this guy, Doug Flutie, he spent Thanksgiving over at the coach's house. Coach says, could you imagine 3 months ago he was on the street? Now he's 2 games from a Super Bowl. Remarkable story. So is Walter Payton, who gets the call on first down on the 11 and gets good yardage and brings it out just short of the 20-yard line. And a gain of about 8. Vernon Dean and Neil Olkowitz for the Redskins.
Let's look again at the bread and butter play. The EGO. The on guard is out. The off guard is out. Covert is out. Watch the block on Dexter Manley. Walter Payton has made so many yards on this play. Calvin Thomas comes in. Actually lets Manley get to the outside. Turns upfield on Dean. I couldn't tell you how many yards Walter Payton has made on that one play alone.
2nd and 2. Call it the 20. 8:25 remaining, third quarter. And there's Payton again. He gave ground and with his familiar step gets a first down and is out of bounds at the 24. Vernon Dean on the play, and Payton has gained 40 yards on 12 carries to lead the Bears.
Jay Schrader looking on, saying, boy, I'd love a shot at the football. We could only hold the Bears from picking up some first downs. The Skins have really had pretty good field position so far here in the second half and have done nothing with it at all. And now driving from their own goal line are the Bears.
And the Bear defense, though they're not on the field right now, coming on and showing why they may be the greatest of all time, along with that Steeler group. 1st and 10 on the 23. Flutie to put it up. Loads of time. And it's intercepted by Darrell Green, and Green is up and running. Green to the 25, and finally stopped at the 26-yard line, and the tackle is by Mark Bortz. So Flutie's second interception of the day gives the Redskins a great chance here to move closer.
The difference between Doug Flutie and a veteran quarterback is that when a veteran is in trouble, he'll get rid of the football short. He's going to go long to Willie Gault in the middle of the screen. But a football takes so long to go that far. Darrell Green has all the time in the world to react to it, makes a fine play. But Doug Flutie has to fight that urge to always go downfield with the football. Dump it off to your back. Dump it to your tight end, who's your safety valve. Don't force the football.
And now the Redskins. He talked about good field position. This is the best 26-yard line of the Bears. 1st and 10. Bears lead 13-7. Kelvin Bryant. Couple, and that's all. And this is where the Bear defense stiffens. Steve McMichael, Dan Hampton, and Mike Singletary stopped Bryant on that play.
2nd and 7.
It seems they all take turns. That time McMichael just floated down the line of scrimmage, waited for the cutback, and bam, right on the line. That's why Steve's going to the Pro Bowl.
The Redskins have not been that good at capitalizing on turnovers. Reggie Phillips has replaced Bestie Jackson at cornerback for the Bears. 2nd and 7 at the 23. Schrader with a fake, being chased by Perry, and dropping the pass wide open was Clint Didier, who normally makes that an automatic catch. Keep in mind that Didier is wearing a cast for a fractured hand he suffered this year.
We see Gary Fensick coming on the safety blitz. He's picked up, nowhere to go, just heads down the line. There's no way Perry's going to catch Schrader. A squandered opportunity there. The ball a little bit out front of Clint Didier. It would have been one heck of a one-handed grab to get it back in, but we've repeatedly seen him do it.
He's a clutch receiver. 3rd and 7, and Schrader has completed only 3 of his last 14. Schrader on the run, wide open, Art Monk. Touchdown, Redskins. And that time, the man he beat was Mike Richardson, who went into the game having been beaten only once for a score all year. And Schrader, with his second touchdown pass to Art Monk, ties the game for the Redskins with 7:09 remaining in the 3rd.
Let's take a look at Art Monk just working against Mike Richardson. It's single coverage because of the blitz. Boy, look how badly Richardson bites on the out move. Art Monk all alone in the end zone. Boy, Richardson jumped on that thing all the way. It was single coverage, though, because of the blitz. The Bears sent everybody and didn't get to Schrader.
And now Atkinson can put the Redskins in front. And he does. And for only the 3rd time this year, a team has scored more than 1 touchdown against the Chicago Bears defense. The Cleveland Browns in the opening game of the year, the Minnesota Vikings, when they trounced the Bears 23-7, were the 2nd team, and now the Redskins, only the 3rd team to get more than 1 score against the Bear defense in a game.
When the Bears blitz, they like to do it in your face, right into the middle. Jay Schrader will be under center. Look at this, but watch the way the wall forms. Schrader's going to get to the outside and make the play after Monk on the good move to Richardson. Newerson into the gap. Wilbur Marshall into the gap. In Schrader's face, and look how they're blocked. Credit the Redskin offensive line, credit Schrader's athletic ability, and credit Art Monk with a fabulous sell to the outside. Up and go. Textbook by the Redskins.
And Dan, it was set up by the costly turnover, the interception by Darrell Green, and the Redskins capitalize and lead it 14-3, and Schrader had his chance, as you were thinking he wanted.
2 touchdowns against 2 all-out blitzes by the Chicago Bears. Remember, he beat the blitz in the first quarter for a touchdown.
14-13, that's the score. Let me get it right. 14-13 now in favor of the Redskins, and their first lead since they took a 7-0 advantage early on.
And you and I both, with raised eyebrows, looked at Jay Schrader yesterday when he said, I hope they blitz. Now I know why he said that.
Steve Cox will be kicking to Gentry on the left and Sanders on the right. Short kick, and it's Gentry at the 11. Dennis Gentry returns it into Washington territory to the 43. Keith Griffin on the stop, and it was Gentry who returned the opening kickoff of this game. 61 yards. This one he returned 48 yards.
If there was one thing you could count on year in and year out, it would be that the Redskins had the best special teams in the league. For the second time, Gentry, through a gaping hole, has clear sailing into Redskin territory. Joe Gibbs can hardly believe his eyes, and I would assume the first thing he's going to do, look for Wayne Severe, special teams coach.
Gentry returned 191 yards for a touchdown the first game of the year. First and 10 out the Redskin 42. Neil Anderson and Payton, and it's Anderson turning the corner. And a great effort by Anderson, and it's a Bears first down at the 31. Alvin Walton on the tackle.
Here's Dexter Manley. He's got to play the inside. Walter Payton knocks him to the inside, and Dexter just completely out of that play. Allows Anderson to the outside. And boy, what a turnabout that is. Walter Payton with the lead block for Neil Anderson.
And a gain of 11, and that's the time remaining in the third quarter. The Bears are wounded. The Redskins lead 14-13. First and 10 at the 30, and they go to Anderson again. Oh, Calvin Thomas breaks the tackle and gets another first down for Chicago inside the 20. Jordan and Coleman on the stop, and Thomas picks up 14 after Anderson got 11. The depth of Chicago's running attack.
It's going to be a double team between Covert and Bortz. They're going to make Manley disappear. Calvin Thomas will break off that double team. Dexter is buried, and Calvin Thomas, at 238 pounds, breaks a couple tackles.
First and 10 Bears on the Redskin 18. 5:25 remaining in the third. And they go again to Payton, and it's fumbled, and the Redskins may have gotten it. The crowd remains quiet as the Redskins have recovered a Walter Payton fumble. Payton had fumbled only 6 times this year, but he coughs it up as the Bears were on a scoring march. And with 5:15 to go in the third quarter, the Redskins and Alvin Walton have the ball.
It's going to be Darrell Grant, number 77, coming from the inside. He puts a hat right on the football. And Walter Payton clearly drops it, as he has done repeatedly here in the late stages of the 1986 football season.
First and 10 Redskins on their 17. They got the ball back and the lead 14-13. Schrader's toss to Clark, but Mike Richardson is there, and they'll have to settle for a 3.5-yard gain. And Dan, yesterday, the Redskin people were saying that one thing they noticed about the Bears, and that is that they average 3 turnovers a game, and they have committed 3 turnovers in this one.
And they can afford no more if they want to win this ball game. And that's just something that Walter Payton does so rarely. I mean, over the course of his career, he is not one of those guys that has the label of a loose ball carrier. But in the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season, Walters had trouble keeping hold of the football.
2nd and 6. Kelvin Bryant in there and 3 wide receivers. Schrader finds Art Monk, 1st down, and Art Monk stays in the field and picks up more yardage to the 39-yard line, where Duerson makes the stop. And what a game for Art Monk today, and that was an 18-yard pickup.
Well, it's hard to be surprised about Art Monk having big days. He does them with such regularity. And the thing about Art Monk is his ability to run after he catches the football. He's a lot like Al Toon in being a very big receiver. He's a big, tall fella who's got some girth. And once he gets the ball, he's tough to bring down. You know, he's just kind of that cross between tight end and wide receiver.
Bestie Jackson has leg cramps. He could return. He's not in there now. Reggie Phillips has been in right cornerback. There's Singletary in the middle. 1st and 10, Skins on the 39. George Rogers, head down, picks up a couple to the 41-yard line. Wilbur Marshall making the tackle. The Bears led 13-7 at the half, the difference being 2 field goals by Kevin Butler. But Darrell Green with a Redskin interception ultimately resulted in a Schrader touchdown, his 2nd of the game to Art Monk. And the Redskins retook the lead. 2nd and 8 with Bryant in the backfield. And it's Bryant finding a hole, and Kelvin Bryant is close to 1st down yardage at the 49. Otis Wilson makes the tackle for the Bears. Very close.
That time the Bears were in a defense you did not see very often anymore. They played that time in the old 46, something that seems to have left Chicago along with Buddy Ryan.
They're going to measure to see whether Bryant had the 1st down, and you see how dangerous he can be, Dan, not only as a receiver but as a runner too. And they've got the 1st down with 2:46 remaining in the 3rd quarter.
Here's the old 46. This is Otis Wilson on the outside, Wilbur Marshall on the inside. They're lined up on Warren and Didier, but it's going to be Russ Grimm that's going to get the kick-out block on Otis Wilson. There goes Wilson. Grimm outside. Jacoby turns upfield. Boy, that's a good-looking running play.
Bryant has 38 yards on 5 carries. 1st and 10 Redskins on their own 49. Schrader with a quick pass, and it's caught by Art Monk. Close to another 1st down. He's shy there, and the play made by Reggie Phillips and Dave Duerson for the Bears. Monk has caught 5 passes today for 81 yards, and that's as many as he caught against the Rams in the wild card tilt.
Well, Jay Schrader at 164 yards only had 90 last week. So a more aggressive passing game this week by the Redskins. That's for one reason only. It's easier to run on the Rams than it is on the Bears.
1:50 on the clock, 3rd quarter. Rogers in there. He gets the call. Big hole up the middle. And George Rogers has a 1st down to the 33-yard line, and all of a sudden this crowd at Soldier Field is stunned by the way the Washington Redskins have kept their poise amidst a 6-point deficit and come back to take the lead and driving now in the 3rd quarter.
And offensively, I'd imagine those guys standing in the huddle feel a little pressure, because it's really difficult to imagine their defense playing any better. It's Washington's offense's turn to make something happen. They did it by beating the blitz. Now a good solid drive.
1st and 10 on the 33. Rogers to the 29. And it's McMichael on the tackle. Keep in mind that if the Redskins ever can get the kind of lead that Joe Gibbs feels comfortable, you know he'll just keep the ball on the ground and use the clock as much as possible in the final quarter.
Reminiscent. It's a game plan that the Redskins have used ever since Joe Gibbs has been head coach. Just new faces. Instead of Theismann, it's Schrader. Instead of Riggins, it's Rogers.
2nd and 6 at the Bear 29. Didier goes way outside. Penalty Penalty marker down. Pass is incomplete. Monk was the intended receiver, and a penalty will be called against Washington.
Wilbur Marshall came in on the blitz. A lot of times when you get in that blitz defense up on the line, that forces an offensive guy maybe to leave his stance prematurely, or a back to want to get a little bit of a head start to try to make that block. Happens all the time.
Illegal motion, number 38, offense, 2 men moving. Penalty is declined, 3rd down.
It'll be 3rd down as the Bears decline the penalty. 3rd down and 6. Mike Ditka awfully anxious on the Bears sideline, and more animated now is Joe Gibbs.
And I think louder will be the crowd.
3rd and 6 at the 29, and the Redskins are already in field goal range, although they have an inexperienced field goal kicker. Penalty marker down. Schrader, and Bryant can't hold on to it, and covering on the play was Otis Wilson, but this could be an important penalty.
Dan Hampton was across the line. Was he drawn? No.
So another chance, and it'll be 3rd and 1 now for the Redskins, and that's a far cry from 3rd and 6 or 2nd down and 11.
Number 99, defense, still 3rd down.
You had the man Hampton, so it's 3rd and 1.
Being eager, being anxious. Dan clearly across the line. Dan's on the bottom of the line. Yep, that's an easy one to call. If you really want to set television broadcasting back a while, just have the referee keep his field mic on like that. We'll all hear some things that we haven't heard before.
We'd have to go on at 3 in the morning to do this game. McQuaid and McKenzie on the jumbo offense, and George Rogers with Don Warren, the lead man on 3rd and 1. They go to play action, and a keeper, Schrader, has a 1st down inside the 20-yard line. It was Phillips and Durson who, in effect, might have saved a touchdown on that play.
Well, if there's a difference between playoff football and regular season football, a call like that may be one of the things that separates it. Jay Schrader, the fake to George Rogers. When you've got an athlete at quarterback, you can do a lot of different things.
And that is the end of the 3rd quarter here at Soldier Field, where it's quiet all over Chicago because the defending Super Bowl champions are trailing. Ready for the 4th quarter of this NFC divisional playoff between the Redskins and the Bears. The Redskins have a 1st and 10 on the 18. They had the 1st and 3rd quarters in their column, the Bears in the 2nd quarter, and the Redskins held the ball for 10 minutes of that 3rd quarter. Ball at the 18-yard line. Schrader knocked away by Richardson, and Art Monk, the intended receiver, and a penalty marker is down. Question whether Richardson had a hand on Monk.
I think it's going to be interference against the Bears. And again, Washington burns a
Pass
blitz.
interference, 27 defense, in the end zone, 1st down on the 1-yard line.
And again, they burn the Chicago blitz. Single coverage, Art Monk, Mike Richardson, because of the blitz. Monk with a stutter step, Richardson's with him, but contact before the football, but Richardson actually got his hand on the football. Boy, that's tight. That is tight.
But Danny might have had his right hand on the arm of Monk, knocked the ball away with his left. In any event, it's 1st and goal at the 1. Rogers and Warren in the backfield. It's Rogers close to the goal line. The Redskins are threatening because of the turnover. Walter Payton's fumble.
Let's take a look at this again. Mike Richardson, Art Monk. Now, did the contact already happen? You don't see the official reaching for his flag. Boy, that is, I don't know, from that angle.
Can't tell.
It'd have been tough for me to throw a flag from that angle, but then again, I can't see what happened with the right hand.
That's how tough the Bears have been against the rush when it's gotten down to the goal line. Rodgers again, and he's in for the touchdown. Only the 5th touchdown allowed rushing by the Bears this year. And once again, the Redskins have capitalized on a Bear turnover to score.
Ground level on the goal line. Behind Don Warren is George Rodgers. The Bears gambled, went to both sides of that gap, and it was an easy touchdown for George. But the big play, Mike Richardson being flagged in the end zone for interference.
It's 20-13, and what Mike Ditka must be thinking as Atkinson gets set to try the 21st point. Schrader holding. Less than a minute into this 4th quarter. And the kick is good, and an important kick it was, because it gives the Redskins an 8-point lead at 21-13. And now the burden falls on the shoulders of Doug Flutie. How much magic does he have in him now?
Let's look at it from our reverse angle. This was the big play, the interference call on Mike Richardson. They'll be to the lower right of our screen. The throw by Schrader. Is there contact? Boy, Mike Richardson got his left hand on the football. The flag comes in. I couldn't have called it, but the official was right there.
Dennis Gentry, who has returned 2 kickoffs for an average of 54, gets a rude awakening at the 23-yard line by Dean Hamill.
And for those of you wondering, where's the instant replay on that? There is no instant replay on interference calls. Only changes of possession and boundaries and things like that. So if you're wondering why we didn't go to the replay booth, that's why. It's not in their jurisdiction.
Scoring drive. Key play, Peyton fumble, and the Redskins in 2 playoff games have forced 9 turnovers while giving up only 1 themselves. Bears 1st and 10 on the 25. Triple pumps, and it touched 4 or 5 hands before it went incomplete. Neil Olkowitz got a piece of it.
That's Neil Anderson running a crossing pattern. Alvin Walton the first one, Olkowitz the second one. 2 Redskins touched the football, a couple more had shots. And looking at it, Dick, sometimes I wonder, in a situation like that, rather than throw the ball, if there isn't an alley for Doug Flutie to take off and run the ball. You know, he's not being very effective running the ball. I think maybe he could do more.
You saw the Bear turnovers and what it's meant to them and what it's meant to the Redskins. 2nd and 10. Peyton giving ground and losing ground. And it was Alvin Walton who made the big play. Monty Coleman who followed suit, and right now looking at special teams and the defensive play of the Redskins. This is an aroused group of wild card winners out here.
On 6 days rest. Again, I go back to what Dave Butt said. Rather than use the 6 days rest as some sort of an excuse, they go all the way back to winning the Super Bowl with only a week's rest. And they say, hey, we're a team that doesn't like to have a couple of weeks off. We lose our momentum. You know, if you could use something like that to an advantage, I don't know, the Redskins might be using it right now.
3rd down and 13. At the 22. 5 defensive linemen up front for Washington. Flutie. And it's nearly intercepted as the pass went behind Lou Barnes. And the Redskins were all around the ball, mostly Curtis Jordan. And on 4th down, Buford will come in and kick the ball for the Bears. Eric Yarber goes back, and Buford will kick from inside his 10.
Watch this, trying to confuse Doug Flutie. This is Marcus Cook, the nose guard. He's going to drop all the way back into pass coverage at the snap of the football. They show you 5 defensive linemen. One of them bails out, and he's one of the guys that forced Doug Flutie to throw offline because he was 20 yards downfield.
Buford on the kick, and that had to be one of those wrinkles that Richie Pettibone told us about. Yarber. And Yarber is tackled at the 37 and will return to Soldier Field in Chicago, Illinois, after this word from your local station. Dick Stockton and Dan Deerdorf here in Chicago, and Richie Pettibone, the defensive coordinator of the Redskins, used to make his living playing for the Bears and had the interception record of the Bears before Gary Fensick broke it this year. 1st and 10, Redskins on their own 37. George Rogers is brought down by the refrigerator. And no gain on the play. We talked about the Bears' schedule. We've harped on it.
Yeah, we talked how their opponents only had a 39% winning percentage. Look how long it has been since they played a good football team. Has it had a bearing on this game? Hard to tell. But they haven't faced stiff competition week in and week out.
2nd and 10 at the 37. Bryant is in there now. Schrader flushed out by Perry. And Schrader will be able to run for the first down before going out of bounds at the 48-yard line. A gain of 11 for Jay Schrader.
Now it's interesting to see the way the Bears are playing. Watch, they're only going to bring the 4 guys. Wilbur Marshall fakes the blitz and goes out. What happens, though, is that because they've been burned on the blitz, their linebackers are so far back in the zone, they're in no position to come up with a quick support on Schrader. And even then, the first guy that can get there is Mike Richardson, the cornerback. Get burned on the blitz, you've changed your thinking defensively, and it seems that's what the Bears have done now.
1st and 10 on the Redskins 48. 12:41 remaining in the 4th quarter. George Rogers cuts his way into Chicago territory to the 47-yard line, where Steve McMichael and then Gary Fensick made the play. And have to go back to the 1st quarter, and early in the game when the Redskin defense, Dan, kept the score from being a lot more than that halftime 13-7 Chicago lead.
The Bears had 1st and goal on the 4-yard line. They had to kick a field goal from the 5. They had it deep in Redskin territory again. Couldn't get it in. Another Butler field goal. We talked about it then. Would it have a bearing on the game? It seems to have.
2nd and 5 at the 47. George Rogers. And Perry made a tremendous tackle. Singletary as well there. And talk about a huge gentleman. And, of course, there was a little flack this week, wasn't there, with the coach?
Yeah, there really was, because Mike Ditka said that if William Perry doesn't lose some weight, he may not be back here next year. That was a line stunt where Dent went to the inside. Perry moves to the outside, and he was in the right place to make the tackle. Nobody ever said the guy can't play the run. You know, if you're coming within a couple of yards of him either way, he's going to be there. It's his pass rushing that has been hurt by the fact he's too heavy.
3rd and 4 now. Schrader to wide open Kelvin Bryant, and a foot race. 1st down Redskins, and Bryant goes down at the 27-yard line, and another 1st down. Richardson and Dent made the tackle, and a 19-yard gain by the Redskins. Dan, they're gaining so much confidence almost on every play.
And the Bears are confused defensively. Look at Mike Singletary in the middle. He's going to call for a timeout. He knows he's got a problem. The motion is causing, he wants a timeout. He's not going to get it. The blitz coming from the outside. Kelvin Bryant wide open. Mike Richardson there too late. Again, the Redskins burn the Bears on a blitz.
1st and 10 at the 27 of Chicago. Rogers gets almost 5 yards on the play. And keep in mind that the Bears, as it is, need at least a touchdown and a field goal to win this game. And the Redskins controlling the ball. That time it was Richardson and Singletary on the stop.
The Bears and their blitz, they're getting burned. You know, when I looked at that last replay from up here, it looked to me like Mike Singletary was calling for a timeout. That well could have been one of their defensive signals. I'm going to If I had to take a guess, I'm going to reverse and say I bet it was a defensive signal instead of a timeout. The fact remains they've been getting hurt on the blitz.
2nd and 6, and Bryant. Stutter steps his way to the 18-yard line, short of a first down by about 1.5 yards. It was Singletary and Fensick that time, and clock continues to run. Plenty of it left. 9.5 to go in the 4th quarter, but the Redskins lead the Bears in what would be a shocking surprise if Washington holds on, 21-13.
And the Bears defensively now are in a situation they have got to force a field goal attempt by the Redskins. They're already 2 scores behind. They need a touchdown and a field goal to take the lead. A touchdown here would seriously hurt the Bears. Seriously.
3rd and 1. Jumbo formation, and it's Rodgers. We'll see where they spot the ball. It was Steve McMichael, Mike Singletary, and Gary Fensick all around the ball carrier George Rodgers.
I don't think he's even going to be close to the first down.
And they're going to bring on Atkinson and Mike Ditka, who would like to join Don Shula and Chuck Noll, who did it twice as coaches who have won back-to-back Super Bowls. But it'll mean nothing for Ditka to achieve that unless the Bears can survive here. It'll be a 35-yard attempt. Atkinson kicked 4 field goals to tie the record last week.
His only 4 for the Redskins.
That's right. And Jess Atkinson's kick is good, and with 8:06 on the clock, the Bears now need 2 touchdowns to pull this one out. It's 24-13 in favor of the Redskins. This is a stunner. The Redskins lead the Bears, and Russ Grimm, who's wearing a flak jacket to protect severely bruised ribs, has been hurting over on the sideline, but just part of the gritty story of a short week and a lot of injuries, and the Redskins have fought gamely today.
And they're trying to get Grimm out of the ball game. Whether they can keep him out, I'm not sure. If the Redskins win, Russ Grimm will be one of the heroes.
Atkinson on the kickoff on a low line drive kick, and Hamill stops Calvin Thomas at the 35-yard line. Steve Cox did not kick that time. But right now, let's tell you about another duel tomorrow. The 49ers and the Giants. First time they met, great comeback by the Giants.
It was 17-0. The 49ers out front. Giants came back to make it a 21-17 ball game. And this one has the trappings of an excellent football game. It'll be at the Meadowlands. The Giants have the home field advantage if they can keep winning.
And the Giants have beaten the 49ers the last 2 times they've played them. 1st and 10 Bears on their 35 with 7:58 to go. Flutie being rushed by Charles Mann, and it's caught by Payton. And he goes out of bounds, and if anything, a loss on the play of a couple. Olkowitz and Butts on the stop, and there is Jim McMahon, and what he must be thinking, because he was never in favor of Doug Flutie being there. Not that Flutie is the reason why the Bears are trailing.
No, Jim McMahon went public and made some comments about he just didn't feel that Doug Flutie had been a member of the Bears long enough or had enough experience to be taking this team into the playoffs. And it was a comment that was not received very well by Mike Ditka.
And a lot of people might speculate that jealousy could be behind it all. 2nd and 12 at the 33. Flutie unlimbers and overthrows Galt. It'll be 3rd down.
How fickle are the winds of football. Pre-game introductions, Doug Flutie next to Walter Payton. The loudest ovation of the crowd here at Soldier Field, and now every time a pass takes off on him, he's being booed rather lustily, wouldn't you say?
I would, and you know, Flutie is going to have his down moments as a pro quarterback. This is only his 2nd start, no excuses, but this is the playoffs, and the Bears are the defending champion.
And he's playing a team in the Redskins that are playing very, very good football.
Anderson and Payton are the backs, 3rd and 12. The Bears are only 1 for 9. 5-man line for Washington. Flutie loops it up. And it was intended for Emery Moorhead, the tight end, and a host of Redskins around the ball, including Curtis Jordan and Todd Bowles. It'll be 4th down, and Buford will come in and kick. And time beginning to run out on the Bears with 7:03 to go.
Otis Wilson on the sideline knows he's got to go back in, and we're all well aware of how tough it is to repeat. But this game, 7:03 left in it. The thing about the Chicago Bears is they can score points defensively. They have all year long. One Redskin mistake, and they'll make points out of it.
Buford will kick to Yarber. Fair catch by Yarber. And the key thing for the Redskins is to avoid the turnovers you're talking about. The Bears, they want to cause them. You can be sure the city of Chicago and the capacity crowd at Soldier Field is in shock. Just look at the scoreboard. That much time remaining in the fourth quarter, and the defending Super Bowl champions trail 24-13.
Walter Payton only 38 yards on the day. That's exactly what the Redskins wanted to do. Take him out of the offense.
George Rogers on first down gets to the 30-yard line, and this has been a near perfect second half for the Redskins, and it plays into what Richie Bettobone told us.
He said, we will not allow Walter Payton to beat us. We will flood the line of scrimmage. We won't allow the Bears to run the football. Okay, what's the other side of that? We're going to force Doug Flutie to win the football game. And if he does, we'll say congratulations.
Flutie is 8 of 24 for 98 yards, 2 big interceptions by the Redskins. 2nd and 5 on the 31. And they go to Rogers again, and he's down at the 30. It'll be 3rd down. And the 24 points scored so far by the Redskins is the 2nd highest total amassed against the Bears this year. The Browns scored 31 in the season opener a long time ago.
35. The Redskins 31.
3rd down and 5. Gary Fensick shaken up now. And Rollie McKenzie replaced Russ Grimm when Grimm went out. Sean Gale is in for Gary Fensick. Kelvin Bryant can't get outside, and the Bears hold with Durson and Wilber Marshall showing their team speed on defense, and a penalty marker down, and Kelvin Bryant is incensed.
And I think Wilber Marshall's going to get a personal foul for slapping Kelvin Bryant in the face. Oh, what a penalty if this one goes through.
Personal foul, 58 defense, 15 yards, automatic first down.
And if that turns out to be the one that breaks the back, it's amazing that the defensive unit committed it.
Dave Duerson, Wilber Marshall right on Kelvin Bryant. Marshall keeps dragging Bryant. Okay, enough is enough. Now Kelvin says something to him. Oh, but that's wide open. Remember, in the first half, Richard Dent got a 15-yarder for grabbing onto a face mask. Certainly, Wilber Marshall didn't hurt Kelvin Bryant, but boy, that's a big risk to take. Wide open like that, and you get caught. They'd have had to punt the football. Now they got a first down.
A sign of frustration by the Bears, who have not dominated this game. 1st and 10 on the 45-yard line. Winding down to 5 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. Rogers brings it out to the 46 and a gain of 2, but the clock working in the Redskins' favor now.
And now Dan Hampton comes out of the pile livid. He's right in the face of one of the officials, screaming about something, probably that he was being held.
It'll be 2nd and 8.
2 penalties come to mind that Mike Ditka has to be thinking about right now. The interference on Richardson and that personal foul on Wilber Marshall that kept the drive alive.
But the Redskins have capitalized on turnovers. Darrell Green's interception resulted in a touchdown to Art Monk. Walter Payton's fumble, eventually a score by George Rogers. And Rogers carries again, and this is Redskin football, as you talked about at the top. And now we're winding down to 4 minutes remaining. Only one NFC wild card winner has ever advanced to the conference championship game. the Dallas Cowboys of 1980. They beat the Rams in the wild card, then Atlanta in the divisional playoff before losing to the Eagles in the NFC title game. The AFC has had many wild card winners advance, but not in the NFC. And of course, one team was the New England Patriots last year. 3rd and 7 with Kelvin Bryant installed again. And it's Bryant with May blocking. He's short of a first down by about 4 yards. It's 4th down, but the clock continues to run and less than 3.5 remain.
And that's a good call by the Redskins.
Chicago calls a timeout because they don't want any more time ticking off. They have 2 left, and they know they're going to get the ball with 3:18 remaining, and they need 2 touchdowns through the Bears to pull this one out. Left 3:18 to go, but I have to go back to what you talked about at halftime, and that is something the Redskins have done all year. That has come from behind.
And when Joe Gibbs talked to us about it, I mean, he was even surprised because he said none of my prior teams have ever been able to come from behind. They panicked whenever they were down, and this team repeatedly has come back. And Dick, who do we give the credit to? You know, there's one new face, and his name is Jay Schrader. You've got to say that confidence that you sense in talking to him transmits to the whole team.
And the defense. Let's not forget about the defense with 2 big interceptions, a fumble recovery. And earlier in the game, 1st and goal for the Bears after Mike Richardson returned an interception 42 yards to the 4. They had to settle for a field goal, and then with good field position again in the 2nd quarter, Chicago had to settle again for a Butler field goal. Gave them a 13-7 advantage. Could have been more, and the Redskins have come back. Lou Barnes is back, and Steve Cox will punt. Low snap. Kick takes a bounce into the hands of Barnes. It fumbles. Monty Coleman picks it up and goes in for the touchdown for the Redskins. And that'll do it. Four turnovers. 3 of them in the 2nd half, and the Redskins have scored each time and have taken a 30-13 lead.
A muffed ball can't be advanced. They're going to rule that a muff because he never had possession. They're going to call that a muff, and he can't advance it. He'll get it at the 4.
Monty Coleman picked it up. So let's go back to 24-13.
They're saying from this angle, from the reverse angle, you can see that he never had possession of the football. That's why it's a muff. A muff cannot be advanced. From our side of the field, it looked like he had possession, and that was the initial indication by the officials. But it's a muff, and you can't run with a muff.
You know, it's a bittersweet thing for the Bears here, Dan, because with 3:06 to go, it's 1st and goal at the 4, and now the Redskins can use up even more time before they possibly score another touchdown. But it's 24-13, not 30. Rogers gets down to the 2-yard line, but the Redskins know what it all means as the clock moves under 3 minutes, and so do the Bears as well.
And Lou Barnes had a tough time handling the football one time in the 1st half. Remember, he kicked the ball on the far side of the field, and luckily it went out of bounds. The Bears have had to take a timeout to stop the clock at 2:51. And a lot of proud men standing in that Bear defensive huddle. Dan Hampton, just one of them.
Bears have 1 timeout left. Tonight on CBS, the premiere of a new CBS series, Outlaws, starring Rod Taylor, followed by the Saturday CBS movie Kiss Me Goodbye, starring Sally Field, Jeff Bridges, and James Caan. What an improbable series of events today. Doug Flutie making only his 2nd NFL start. But it was the Redskins trailing at halftime, coming back. You know, yesterday when we talked to Joe Gibbs, he acted as if the Redskins wanted to get in and out of town in a hurry, didn't he?
Well, Joe Gibbs effectively, I think, transmitted the illusion that this was a football team too beat up to even compete with the Bears. I think that was an illusion.
Bears couldn't throw the ball. They got 1 yard passing in the second half. 2nd and goal on the 2. And Rodgers is tripped up again, and it's 3rd down, and Ditka is signaling for his team to use its last timeout, I believe, and that's the story. So the Bears are out of timeouts.
Timeout, Chicago. That's their last timeout.
How about time of possession in this game, where the Redskins have had the ball in the second half for 20.5 minutes. The Bears for only 6. Now, you wonder how the 49ers and Giants feel about the result of this game as those two teams battle at Giant Stadium tomorrow.
Well, the only thing we know for sure is that if Washington holds on and wins this game, they won't play at RFK. They're the wild card team, and they'll have to play either at San Francisco or at New York, depending on who wins tomorrow's game. So they'll know who they have to play. The one good thing for the Redskins, they'll have a long week this time, having played on Saturday, and then they won't play until Sunday.
Are you surprised that a wild card team has only 6 days to get ready to play their next playoff game?
Well, both wild card teams had to do it today. The New York Jets in their game with Cleveland had to play in a short week. I asked Joe Gibbs yesterday about that, and he said that he called the commissioner, and he said, I talked to him for about 5 minutes, and when I hung up, I still wasn't sure why we had to play on Saturday. It's, you know, it's really an unfair advantage. They're having to play a team that had 2 weeks, and they only got 6 days.
And it's possible that we could have 2 NFC Eastern Division teams playing for the conference championship next week. And Bill Parcells said a long time ago, I wouldn't be surprised if I see the Redskins a 3rd time this year.
Well, remember, until the Bears and the 49ers developed into fine teams, that was almost a yearly occurrence between either the Cardinals, the Redskins, or the Cowboys.
3rd and goal on the 3. 2:38 on the clock. Schrader rolling out. Throws it away. Incomplete. And it's 4th down. He used up a lot of time now, and Atkinson will come on in.
I really think I should correct myself when talking about the conference championship game. The Cardinals never played in one of those. Let's substitute the Eagles for the Cardinals, talking about the All-East Conference Championship game.
You know, with the career you had and how close you came, I'll give you that.
All of a sudden I got thinking to myself, I don't remember having played in a conference championship game.
Atkinson has kicked a 35-yard field goal. Maybe you dreamt of it once.
I dreamt of it a lot.
Atkinson 5 for 5 in 2 games. This will be a 20-yard attempt with Schrader holding. And 2:31 to go, and the fans, many of them, have filed out of Soldier Field. Didn't expect this tonight. Penalty marker down. The kick is good, but there's a flag.
Kick is good. However, there's no flag.
Illegal substitution, offense.
And
That's someone who comes in to line up at either the tight end or the wingback position, and who has an ineligible number and who didn't report on his way in.
so Atkinson will try it again from
Illegal
farther back.
substitution, number 63, offense.
Raleigh McKenzie did not report. And they'll kick it again. Field goal here would give the Redskins a 27-13 lead. The Bears needing 2 touchdowns.
63 returned to an ineligible position. He must leave the game for 1 down.
2 touchdowns in 2:28 to tie. Somewhere along the line, Jacoby and Grimm deserve a kudo or 2.
Now they stop it again on the field.
This will be a 24-yard attempt for Atkinson. Art Monk caught 2 touchdown passes today from Jay Schrader. George Rogers with a score. .25-yard attempt now with his spotted. And Atkinson's kick is good. He's now 6 for 6 in the 2 playoff games, and it's now 27-13 with 2:25 remaining. Well, Dan, let's look ahead again to tomorrow's game. I'm sure that Bill Parcells would have preferred to play a club other than the 49ers, and we saw them against New England toward the end of the year, and the one thing that impressed me was the fact that they have 2 healthy running backs now in Craig and Cribbs, who can both run and catch.
I think the one thing you can say about the 49ers, and I'm sure I'll get arguments in other places, but if you take the Redskins, if you took the Bears, the Giants, and the 49ers, I think the 49ers have the best offensive football team. They're the most explosive offense in the playoffs. And I think that is going to be used by the 49ers as an advantage. They've got great wide receivers in Clark and Rice. As you say, the 2 healthy running backs, a big guy like Francis at tight end, and of course, Joe Montana. What has he meant to that team?
Except that Montana's going to have to face the toughest defense he's had to play. It'll be the 2nd time of the year, and a lot of people disparage Phil Simms a little bit, but all Phil Simms has done is get the W's in the column for the Giants this year.
And he's done it without a lot of what you would call star-studded wide receivers, and you got to love that guy right there, Joe Jacoby. Playing with the big club.
Atkinson.
Be a fun trip home for the Redskins, and I think old Joe may get a lot of pats on the back. I hope he and Russ Grimm sit side by side, so save his teammates some trouble.
Atkinson kicking off on a line drive. Touched by Gentry, picked up by Sanders. Thomas Sanders still on his feet and brought down at the 27-yard line by Dean Hamill. Do you have, as a former offensive lineman, a special kind of feeling for the kind of game that Grimm and Jacoby played today?
Well, it doesn't have to be just an offensive lineman, as I think we've got a flag down on the field, but it's like Joe Montana coming back sooner than anyone expected.
Number 78 on a kicking team. 5-yard penalty, re-kick.
Yeah, they're going to ask for the re-kick because they want the big play, get the kickoff return. But you admire a teammate who's willing to play hurt, a teammate who's willing in a big game. Even though he knows maybe he's not 100%, he knows he's still the best you have. And I guess that's what we saw today in Jacoby and Grimm.
Big story of this game. The Bears, who had a penchant for turning the ball over this year, did it again and were burned 3 out of 4 times.
The other thing, with 2 minutes and 12 seconds, this guy might have something to say. I mean, even though the Bears don't have any timeouts, they still have a guy by the name of Willie Gault. They're only one big play away from being right back in this game. An onside kick. Stranger things, as we all know, have happened before. And Willie Gault, you'd have to think that somehow they want to get the ball in his hands.
Atkinson on the kick. Todd Bell bobbles it at the 25 and laterals the ball to Neil Anderson and Alvin Walton. And the kicker Atkinson were both there, knocking him out of bounds. 2 minutes remain, and we'll have our 2-minute warning. To put it simply, the Bears need 2 touchdowns to send the game into overtime if they want to keep their hopes alive. If you've joined us late, this is the shocking story. 2 minutes to go in the 4th quarter, and the Washington Redskins with a 2-touchdown lead over the defending world champion Chicago Bears. Bears out of timeouts. Doug Flutie will operate out of the shotgun. He has Ortego and Gault. He's got to try to go deep or get something deep in a hurry. He completes that to Willie Gault at midfield, and a gain of 7 on the play. Bowles and Coffey on the stop, and with no timeouts left, there's nothing the Bears can do And they know it. Flutie stepping up, fires for Ortego, and Ortego completes it, has it inside the 25, where Tim Morrison makes the catch. A gain of 26. 1:25 on the clock and running.
And those that stayed start to get a little excited.
First and 10 at the 24. Flutie finds Reitman, and now they rule it incomplete. It was Morrison and Dean who defended against Tim Reitman, and that would have been a big one for the Bears.
And that was a fine play by Doug Flutie. A bad snap. Look at that one-handed grab. Buys himself a little time, as we talked about all game long, by movement. But he puts that one right in there to Tim Reitman. Ruled that he'd never had possession of the football, but boy, did Morrison and Dean put a couple of hats on the ball.
Second and 10, and of course, anytime you're talking about Doug Flutie, nothing is impossible. As Brent remembers, he called that miracle touchdown pass in Boston College's win over Miami a few years ago, which set up the Heisman Trophy win for Flutie. Second and 10 with that much time remaining at the 23. Flutie looking to pitch out, does so, and Matsui is knocked out of bounds to stop the clock at the 7 with 59 seconds to go. The Bears, after that 16-yard gain, will want to score as quickly as possible, then go for the onside kick. And you know that the Redskins sideline is contemplating that right now.
I'm sure that Wayne Sevier, the Redskins special teams coach, has already talked to all the receivers, running backs, the guys with good hands that they put up front in that onside receiving situation. It's something that all NFL teams practice at least once a week during the regular season. But first, the Bears have to score a touchdown.
First and goal at the 7, 59 seconds to go. Flutie fires, and it's caught for a loss on the play to Matsui, and it was Monty Coleman who put the hit on. And the clock continues to run, and Bears need pay dirt if they're going to have any last-ditch chance. Down doesn't really matter that much right now. It's second down, though. On the 5. Flutie drills it incomplete, and he threw it hard to Willie Gault on a slant-in pattern.
Todd Bowles, one of the Redskin defensive backs, looked like he might have even gotten a hand on the football. It was tough to tell. Nonetheless, this is going to bring up a third down, and I guess Flutie's making it interesting. And you know, he's done a couple things here, Dick, that we talked about earlier. I think there were a couple times that maybe he could have come out of the pocket and taken off and run with the football, as we talked, rather than try to force it downfield.
Third and goal at the 5. Flutie fires, and it is knocked away by Monty Coleman, intended for Emery Moorhead. And now it's fourth down, and now the Bears are slim chances, even slimmer. Joe Gibbs, first time the Redskins have played a road playoff game under Gibbs.
If it was so easy to repeat, everybody would be doing it.
Fourth and goal at the 5. Flutie will try to run it, flips it, and it's knocked away by Fernandine on the pass intended for Keith Ortego, and that will do it, as the Redskins will take over on downs with 15 seconds to go. And you saw Joe Gibbs point, just kneel down and let the clock tick off, and Bobby Beathard and Joe Gibbs.
And Walter Payton, a good look at his eyes. And what do you say about the year of the Chicago Bears?
They had distractions. They had all kinds of problems. They had some big injuries to people like McKinnon and Frazier and McMahon. Let's not forget McMahon.
And now what's been a tumultuous season for Chicago switches over to what will probably be as tumultuous an off season, because somehow you get the impression that Mike Ditka is not just going to sit back and say, well, fellas, we're going to do next year what we did this year. I don't think that is any longer acceptable.
This will be the second home playoff loss in history by the Bears. Their only other one was against the Redskins 49 years ago. And the big shocking upset has occurred here at Soldier Field, and the defending champions have been upset by Joe Gibbs and the Redskins, who had to put it together in a hurry and have shocked the Bears 27-13.
And a good shot there of Joe Gibbs telling Mike Ditka, oh, don't bother, you don't have to come over and shake my hand. And yet Mike Ditka all the way across the field congratulated Joe Gibbs. And there you have to say Jay Schrader. He dared them to blitz. Come at me, I'll hurt you, and he did.
It was the defense early